Recording in progress.
Good morning, everyone. Let's just begin in a minute. Yeah, Rama. Yes, you. Everyone, welcome to the 13th webinar in the series of webinars on uh, the rare diseases, which we are focusing on DMD and SMA. And today we will be talking about role of NGOs and from Indian side and the global side with SMA and DMD. I request Dr. Kakuli to introduce our panelists.
Good morning, everyone. Very nice welcome to everybody. Today we are, as Dr. Shefali has said, today we are in the 13th session of our webinars, which are a series of webinars. We have got the financial grant from Global Genes, which are allies in the rare diseases. Today we have with us Dr. Nisha Venugopal, Ms. Momita Ghosh, we have Gitanjali, we have Dr. Rama Lakshmi, and we have Prasanna Serol. Dr. Nisha Venugopal is a program manager at Indo-US Organization for Rare Diseases. Nisha has PhD in life sciences from CSIR CCMB India, where she studied the role of cellular antenna called the primary cilium in adult skeletal muscle stem cell. This was her introduction to rare diseases. Her postdoc research in Institute of Bioinformatics and Applied Biotechnology involved a detailed analysis of global clinical trial registries. Nisha hopes to use her experience in the cell biology of rare disease and policy research to support and help patients gain access to life-saving therapies through research, outreach, and advocacy efforts. Today we have Mr. Rama Lakshmi, who is an active member at Bharat MD Foundation, which is an NGO and is actively looking into the area of DMD and SMA. We have Ms. Maumita Ghosh, who works as events and family support and is a co-founder and director at Cure SMA Foundation of India, which is a non-profit charitable organization. We have with us Gitanjali. Thank you, Ms. Gitanjali. We are meeting again with you. Ms. Gitanjali is a co-founder at FSMA India and head of patient advocacy. Her niece is a type 1 SMA girl. She is an MBA and works as a business consultant in addition to working as a patient advocate for FSMA community. She has attended many international and national conferences on SMA and coordinated with international groups working on rare diseases along with pharma companies for clinical trials and compassionate use program for SMA patients in India. She handles the legal, international, and government advocacy of SMA patients, working towards building an ecosystem wherein all SMA patients in India have access to effective SMA treatment and world-class holistic care. With all this introduction, we also have Mr. Prasanna Serol, who currently serves as a co-founder and executive director of ORDI, an umbrella organization that represents 7,000 plus diseases in India. He has been instrumental in national level advocacy for rare diseases for past 11 years. I welcome all the panelists. Now I give the dais to Dr. Shefali to start the panel discussions. He will facilitate the panel discussions.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kakuli. Basically, we have seen that non-governmental organizations have played a very important role in many of the conditions, and and SMA, DMD are one among them. Basically, many of them are led by parent support groups and even otherwise. And today we'll be talking about NGOs. NGOs का काफी रोल रहा है काफी बीमारियों में, और जिसमें SMA और DMD बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. कुछ पेरेंट सपोर्ट ग्रुप के साथ लीड करते हैं, कुछ अदरवाइज फिलेंथ्रोपिक है. एंड टुडे we'll be talking about role of NGOs from the Indian perspective with some international role which is there shared from by the representative of Indo-US share. तो अभी हम start करेंगे for SMA. Can we have the slides, please? Dr. Gautam, can you please read out the first question? What we'll do is we'll just there are certain just points which came to our mind. तो वो हम question flag करेंगे, and we will we will request any one of you to unmute and talk. Even I may request in between also. Yeah, please.
So the first question is, what are the NGOs in India and globally which are working for the welfare of patients with SMA, and what are the activities of an NGO in the welfare of patients with SMA?
Yeah. Anybody wants to start off?
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning.
I am Rama Lakshmi from
Yeah.
Bharat MD Foundation.
Yeah, Rama. Yeah, please
Yes, a
go ahead.
small correction. I'm a parent, ma'am. I'm not a doctor. I'm a parent of a 8 years old DMD boy. I'm
Thank
from
you for
Bharat MD Foundation.
Thank you for correction.
Thank
What happens is we all are doctors, so सब कुछ default में
Yes,
doctor
ma'am.
निकल जाता है. So इसलिए
And thanks for giving us the opportunity, ma'am. It's an honor. Thank you so much.
thank you. It's an honor for us to have you all there, because our common aim is actually for working for children with special needs, and right now the focus is SMA and DMD, right? So thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Yeah. Just
अब
to start
अपना,
off.
your video, can you?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No problem. No problem.
Yes,
Ma'am.
ma'am. A very good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Yes, ma'am. Coming to the first question, what are the NGOs in India and globally which are working for the welfare of the patients? As I sent you the list earlier, we have nearly 30 to 40 NGOs in India working for especially DMD, ma'am. I am from a DMD this one, because SMA, I know only one Cure SMA organization. Coming to these 20, 30 organizations which are locally established in the states, as well as they are into.
Yeah, Rama,
Yes,
actually, Rama, you are part of the second panel, actually.
I'm
We
so
talked
sorry.
about SMA in the first panel. So because you joined,
ma'am.
Dr. Kakal introduced you. You can talk about a little bit, and then we go on to the SMA. So I was just wondering, because yours is the second part. I think there was some miscommunication on our side. And I just realized when you said the DMD list, so you please stay on, but you continue to be a panelist, but 11:15 the DMD focus starts. You can just tell generally role of NGO, because you started speaking. Just tell one thing: what is the role of NGO in welfare of patients with neuromuscular disease? But that much you can say because you started speaking, and then we will go on to SMA, and we'll have you directly leading 11:15 onwards. But you can feel free to pitch in. Abhi you can feel to pitch in, but generically, right? Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks.
Coming to neuromuscular, ma'am, first thing is the creation of awareness across all stakeholders. It can be patients, doctors, policymakers, industry, college, general public, and we need to we need to act as a strong support for the patients. We need to enable them to come out of the stigma which they faced by hearing the news of the kid. And the other thing is, we need to guide them. We need to support them we need to support and guide them uh, to enhance their this one.
Hello? Yes, you are audible. Ma'am, please continue.
Okay, thanks. Gitanjali, do you want to start off?
Yeah, sure. Okay,
Yeah.
so I would say that first of all, Dr. Shifali, thank you very much and the team for this wonderful opportunity for making a platform for awareness and spread of topics on neuromuscular disease, especially SMA and DMD, and all the work that you have done very patiently and with a lot of effort. The role of NGO, actually, I'll tell you, is a very personal story. My niece was diagnosed with SMA type 1 around 14 years back. And at that point of time, we had nothing. So, in terms of there was no awareness, people didn't know about SMA. Even the medical fraternity was not much aware about SMA at that point of time. And there was nobody. So, we were the first people to get together and form an organization called Families of Spinal Muscular Atrophy. And as we went along, we learned a lot from the medical fraternity, from researchers abroad, but most from these NGOs which were based out of India, and some of the NGOs that were based out of based out of internationally, and some of them based out of India. There was a big learning curve for us as well. I'll tell you, the basic role of an NGO or any support group is first to be the voice of that cause. So you are the voice of that cause. You are the representation of that cause. What you do is you bring a platform where everyone comes together and they feel a sense of a family or a support, a mentor, a guide, where they travel through various hardships and challenges and also opportunities going along. So a very basic thing is, yes, about awareness, making everyone, all the stakeholders aware about the disease, then support of the family, then uh, basically management of the disease through various programs and workshops. Then the spread about research, or internationally, I think a much wider role has been played by the NGOs in actually conducting research, for providing funding for the research and getting the research to a treatment possibility has happened because of the NGOs funding and sponsoring so many researches out there. Over here, we've not really done that much in terms of funding for the research, but the various collaborations and the spread of message or the reach out to the various pharma companies has resulted in compassionate usage programs and some amount of clinical trials out of India now, especially in SMA and other diseases as well. Um, then a wider role is also in enhancing their lives, which means providing education, providing employment, because especially patients with SMA are extremely intelligent. So once they grow up, they want to be inclusive in the society, so trying to get that. Then of course, liaising with the government for various programs, for policy making, for treatments, for management, for inclusiveness. Then constantly being in touch for awareness and for research and for treatment with the medical fraternity. Then also with the patient group consistently for various programs, and also educating them for new research and development. So it's an ongoing process, and we are learning and we are there. So it's a very, very important and a very big role played by national and international NGOs.
Momita?
Hi, good morning, ma'am. First of all, thank you on behalf of Curasum India for this platform where we can share and create more awareness regarding rare diseases, especially SMA. So, regarding this question, I feel personally that how we started. It's Curasum India is a parent-led NGO. All the members are either parents or patients, and initially when we were not under the umbrella of Curasum India, we were individual parents fighting individual battles, which was very hard, and there was no hope for us. So, first of all, I think when we came together, that is because of the need of awareness, that is because of the need of being empowered with the knowledge. And also, there were premium institutions where infrastructures, facilities were available, but rest of the country, in the urban and rural populations, in far east, west, where infrastructures were not available, which patients could reach. So being when our role is creating awareness, then creating the infrastructure or the facilities which are already available in the country but not reaching the population who need them. So we kind of bridge that gap between the healthcare system and the patient. And already, as other panelists mentioned, that research and all this came in the later half when we already had a treatment, but we had no access to that. So that was our third battle. We started fighting for, advocating for treatment, available treatment, and access to the treatment. So I think as a whole, NGO works for patient empowerment, which is very important being in third world country like us, where education is less, awareness is less, and due to the bigger geographical area, reach is less. So that is how we play a role as a Curasame India, reaching each and every one and trying to help each and every patient to get into the best care or standard of care, which are being made a protocol. So that is how we play the role, and probably the research and all part will slowly get into once we have access, because access is urgent being a neuromuscular disease, as you already know that every day they are losing their ability. So available treatment access is the utmost urgency. For that also, NGOs like us advocate with governments, policymakers, and also with compassionate HCPs like you being supporting us. We try our best to help each and every patient in overall holistic management. Thank you.
Nisha? Nisha?
Hi. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Shifali, for this opportunity, and uh, so honored to be among these eminent panelists. Providing a perspective from a organization which is not specifically focused on one rare disease, but more disease agnostic or umbrella organization, as you may speak. The importance is in being able to connect these many different dots, so many activities that are being conducted by each of these organizations, like what Ms. Gitanjali said, what Ms. Momita said. Every aspect is important. And given the constraints of manpower, of time, and all of the patients, support groups are mostly led by parents or family members who have to juggle so many things. So it's essential that there is a support environment that is built. And as a disease agnostic group, this is the kind of connections that we can build. Echo. And I think this is essential to bridge the gap between these various stakeholders. And that's a very crucial role that NGOs can build in connecting patients to patient groups, such as what, QRSMA and FSMA, connecting patients to.
Are you joined from two sources?
No, I
Did
just.
anybody, any of the panelists joined from two?
Dr. Prasanna, kindly mute yourself. Thanks for joining, sir. Kindly mute yourself. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'm grateful to you that you could join despite your other commitments. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, please continue, Nisha.
Yeah, right. Sorry about all the interruption. But essentially, I feel that building communications between all these different stakeholders who are busy in their own roles towards the support of patients is very essential. And communication, policy, empowering, helping patients speak for themselves, being able to train them to speak at the right forums, making these connections, making people aware. Many doctors who are doing who are supporting patients are not aware of the latest research. Many researchers who work on the basic aspect of which might have just amazing implications on the disease are not aware of the actual life and the struggles of the patient. So making these connections is something that NGOs definitely have a great role in. Um, that's what I have to add to everything that Gitanjali and Monica have said.
Dr. Prasanna, we are talking about what are the NGOs in India and globally which are looking after the welfare of SMA patients. What are the activities of an NGO in the welfare of patients with SMA? So you want to say something?
Can you hear me? Good morning.
Good morning. We can hear you, but it is a little breaking.
Okay. I have
Now-
a very poor internet connection.
No, but
Let
it's
me
good.
speak.
It's good. It's good. It's good. When the passion is there, drive is there, the internet will be okay. Audible.
Thank you. Thank you once again for having invited me here and giving me this opportunity. If you look at the support group functions in terms of supporting SMA patients, uh, we as ORDI, always on the forefront supporting patients. And if you look at it, the first activity for SMA and DMD put together is initiating a muscle and nerve clinic in Bangalore Baptist, which I think that is the first one. And second, if you today the same center has seen almost around 1,000 patients in last 3-4 years. And when we started, when the SMA drug started coming to India and we wanted to collate the patients, we had a database of only around 35-40. And when we initiated a camp to screen and understand how many patients are there, I think within 1 week we were able to gather around 145 patients across South India. I think that is the role of a support group where companies and doctors do not have access to this patient. The mainly because when the patient comes to the doctor and when after diagnosing or without diagnosis, when the doctor says currently there is no treatment, all these patients are lose contact with the medical fraternity, and they think it is their destiny and start focusing on the local therapies, local support, religious practices, and other things. I think this is where the patient group makes an impact to bring all these patients and create a hope and create a network saying that they are not alone in this world. So that is one thing. Second, we are also able to support this patient in terms of all the executing in free access, free therapies or international charitable program being given and support functions. Just to tell you, yesterday itself we had a SMA awareness month in Baptist, which was attended by more than 30 families, and also it was webcasted live throughout, and more than 500 people attended, patients, and there was a complete thing. I think these are the few functions, and NGO can play an important role, especially in supporting the SMA patients when you are talking today here. And these are the regular activities. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prasanna. Tarun, can I have the next slide, please? The next question is Dr. Gautam.
The next question is, what are the activities done by NGOs to promote awareness during the SMA Awareness Month specifically? And do NGOs collaborate with each other during such activities? And what is the role of NGOs in joint efforts of advocacy beyond borders? That is national and international collaborations.
Before it's open, all four of you? Some problem? The point is that I just wanted to tell Dr. Prasanna, that's really nice that you have got this center established, Baptist. That is, I know you with your support, everything, and the patients have been streamlined. Just wanted for the neuromuscular disease, the community looking after neuromuscular disease, I wanted to tell you that it's more than, from the late 70s, we had a neuromuscular disorder clinic started in our child neurology division, Department of Pediatrics by my mentor. and I've been heading it since 2008. So I mean, and looking after it, I mean, patients since 25 years, more than 25 years myself, but that is there. So we have, but that was right, obviously in the Napical Institute of National Importance, and for you to have established is really commendable. And we have a lot of support from Cure SMA in channelizing the patients towards us. I mean, because obviously it's better to channelize patients. And one thing I wanted to request to the parent support groups that, please try to channelize the patients near their residence, because for all these treatments they should be channelized near the residence. Sometimes what happened is there are some places because of some advertisements, and some people going on to media being aware that the patient is there. But even in lockdown I saw patients from north going to south and patient from south going to north. So that is not okay. So when you have facilities, they should be near their place of place where they are staying. And other thing is, which I have a complaint to to give to I understand parents are really helpless and really trying to like we are the with them, they're trying to just run here and there and try to do the best. But what I felt that it was a really, we cut a very sorry figure, because see, in the access program, we we had 145 applications we had given for the Spinraza in July 2019, and we were able to give 145. And then we had got 13 patients, but one SMA type 1 died before the medication could be shipped. In the that time there were 3 patients who had given wrong date of birth. So that was not right. And in the second time when the Spinraza came for the last year, February, March, we had applied around 45 again, and in that 38 got selected. But I may just share with you, 3 of them were selected from 2 sites. What happened is with Spinraza, you have to put a place of residence. So what the parents did, they give different residence proof in both the places. So one patient of ours was overlapping with Gangaram, 2 were overlapping with PGI Chandigarh. So in the way, what happened was 3 children were denied medications because they got lottery from 2 places. And similarly, what is happening in the Zolgensma lottery also, which is happening, many of the patients will come here and tell us that it's not been done, and then we go and send, put it, it's with the date of birth. The name doesn't go, it's with date of birth. So it gets picked up. When their parents kept on denying that it was not been, uploaded from other side. So now we have become wiser, when we are seeing that some their papers are there from some other hospital, even if the parents are denying, we are just writing to them and asking whether such patient has been registered. It happened last week. Somebody came from Baptist and they had some documents from there, but they said, no, we have not submitted. So I wrote a mail to them and said, this patient has been seen there, and you see whether and the doctor's name is there, this date of birth. So why are parents doing this, So because, we, another Zolgensma patient, a person who got the lottery for Zolgensma had also got selected for Risdiplam compassionate use. And Risdiplam, she had got selected from Gangaram and the Zolgensma from our side. When you're putting it, when you're getting any humanitarian access program, the doctor has to sign that the patient is not getting any other access program, because in humanitarian access program, each patient should be, maximum number of patients should be covered. You can't have one child getting 2 humanitarian access programs. It's unethical. 2 children can get, right? So that person did not tell us till we doctors talked among themselves and confronted. And in the bargain, 6 months medication of Risdiplam got wasted, because something which is, that time it was being imported, something which is imported in an individual's name cannot be done, So I understand the parents are, struggling and all, but in these kind of situations, and giving wrong date of birth happened again this time. So, I mean, these things I think we should ensure and guide, and maybe all those can be told only by the NGOs and the support groups who are catering, because they have trust and faith. Because we cut a sorry figure, because if we have uploaded their application on one particular date of birth, and when it gets selected, and then when you have to put the Aadhaar card and everything, and then we put, so it is really embarrassing for us to write to those people that why are these people doing wrong. I mean, sorry, this was something which I wanted to share, because, and it's not only for you, for all the parents जो सुन रहे हैं कि हमें फैक्ट सही लिखने चाहिए, और अगर ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एक्सेस प्रोग्राम में एक ही जगह से we should be submitting. So please, the question is open. What are the activities done by NGOs to promote awareness during SMA Awareness Month? Do NGOs collaborate with each other in such activities, and what is the role of national and international collaboration?
Hello, ma'am. Should I take the answer? Okay. So, ma'am, being a STEM Awareness Month, we run mass awareness drive to all our social media handles, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, where we share SMA facts, means all the clinical reasons, then genetic reasons, and how we can prevent it, career screening, newborn screening, and also we share the success stories that how the patients with medicine or without medicine doing well in their life. Also, we share the struggle of patients and parents. So this is to reach the mass with voice our need for treatment availability and access. And yes, we do collaborate with different NGOs in to create awareness. Like last year, we collaborated with PPHF for rare disease policy consultation. Then we also in 2019 we had a collaboration with Guardia in Baptist at ASM event. So we do collaborate with different organizations in national level. Also, we have collaboration, international collaboration with QRSMA USA, and we are on talk with QRSMA Europe for collaboration. Also, we have access to Asia Pacific SMA groups, especially SARC SMA group like Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, where infrastructure is very poor, and we are trying to support them with knowledge. So kind of we are trying to reach each and every where SMA parents is struggling, and we try to support them with the knowledge and support. And being an SMA awareness month, each and every day we try to create this awareness about the disease and disease struggle and everything. Thank you.
Voice froze. Hand down.
So I'll just add on to that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please. You can hear.
Yeah. Yeah. So, see, SMA Awareness Month is August, but I think this exercise really happens through the year, every day, that we are trying to tell people about SMA, share the problems, the challenges that the patients are facing, and also reaching out to the patient community with support. So, especially during SMA, months, what we've done various campaigns in previous years and now. So we've done a campaign called 30 stories 30 days, like being in August month. So every day there would be story of a patient and the family and the struggles and the challenges that they went through. And it was a very big step because it also removes people from that situation of being stigmatic. Rather, they become the hero of their life, and we are presenting them on social media, telling others about their story, uh, and they are like heroes, or real life heroes, I would say, with the struggle that they are facing. And yet, they are achievers. They are especially because cognitively they are so good, the SMA children and adults. So they're PhD holders, they're scientists, they are, lawyers, they are doing graphic designing, they're doing gaming, they're doing various activities. In fact, some of them are singers, they are IAS officers. So, and or even parents of those smaller, younger children, and the small achievements that the children are making. So those stories were very human stories that are spread during August month that we've done. Then what we have done is workshops. So a lot of workshops being conducted where we get, doctors and the medical fraternity who can be of a particular program at that point of time. For example, you have physiotherapy, or you have occupational therapy, or you have mental awareness, and you also have disease management. So we like critical care, that's a very big component of SMA, because management of the disease is one, but when once you have critical care, you have a situation, even a common cold can create havoc in this disease, and how to manage the patient at that point of time, coming from experienced medical doctors and telling patients about it makes a lot of difference in disease management and managing of critical care. And then we so reaching out to government, of course, is a constant endeavor that happens. I would say that so in terms of collaboration, I would really want that the Indian NGOs come together more cohesively and try to work together for the common cause, because the intent is the same. The intent is the same for everyone, and I think it will be more productive if the NGOs come together and work for the common cause. We have done some collaborations. We keep on doing collaborations with the ORDI with Prasanna ji. He runs a very big, not just for SMA. I think that's a very big platform for all rare diseases, Race for Seven, and we've done it many years again and again with him. We conduct various meetings together for policy making, for other awareness programs. Globally, we are in touch with the SMA support. Then we are in touch with, we have collaborated with Cure SMA. Then Treat SMA is another organization which is working. Fight SMA is another organization. We have been through, various other NGOs like Global Genes or, Indo-US Share. We have gone to these international conferences where we met other rare disease NGOs and collaboratively tried to work with them, learn from them. And so it's an ongoing journey. And SMA Awareness Month is, of course, very important. But like I said, every day for us is spreading, awareness and trying to reach out to people and all stakeholders about the disease constantly.
Gitanjali, what support do you get from the international side? How has it helped you change? I mean, has it given you some guidance? And besides the guidance, what any kind other support you get?
Yeah, I would say that a lot. So, for example, I would say that even our sponsorship to attend these international platforms were done by, a collaboration between OIDI and Global Genes and Indo-US Share later on. And so, when once you actually have, there's so much of exposure, first of all, to learn what these larger NGOs are doing. In terms of support, I would say that you could learn so much about what are the clinical trials that are happening across about the disease. You get a platform to meet the pharmaceutical companies. You also understand about the various compassionate programs and how to actually get those compassionate programs on here. Then they have also had their share of fundraising. There are amazing stories of fundraising that we learned from collaborating, not so much, but actually hearing from them on various conferences. Even they do these very simple ones, but patients itself are raising funds through cookie making, through singing contests, through getting celebrities on board from writing books. So it's like an everyday thing that really makes a lot of difference. One big learning which we are really doing right now, and we hope for further collaborations and we can really do on that, is getting to a stage where you can provide or create research within our country in India. They have really leapfrogged. I mean, they are way ahead in terms of fundraising for research and actually conducting research for treatment of various diseases, which I think we should all stakeholders collectively, especially with the help of the medical fraternity and doctors like you, that we move ahead and we somehow also, get that learning, because all the treatments that have come, all the treatments in SMA have actually been started by the research by these parent-led groups. So that's a very big learning for us. And yeah, I mean, these are some of the learnings.
Thank you. Dr. Nisha, you want to add, please?
I wanted to add on to what Ms. Gitanjali said, in that collaborations are so important in widening the audience pool. There's so much work being done by individual organizations, and collaborating with others will help get this awareness campaign to a wider set of audiences and stakeholders. And secondly, it will also prevent duplication of efforts. because, like she said, everyone is working towards the same cause. And if there is an understanding and a collaborative mentality, there's enough and more work for everyone to do. That such is the need, and the problem is at that scale. So, collaboration is absolutely essential, and I think communication at all levels is kind of key to this. And to build on this, additionally, I would like to also point out that last year, when COVID was the second wave was so massive, and everybody was doing their bit, and any little bit that anybody could do was helping patients. Ms. Gitanjali had reached out and said that there are patients in her community and others who are not able to access even basic ventilator support at home, because these are patients who needed it on a day-to-day basis, but this was being prioritized for COVID patients and otherwise. So we had come together and helped with a fundraiser to be able to raise money to get pulse oximeters to go to primary health centers, to get ventilators that could go to patients. And that program is still active, and Ms. Gitanjali still has one ventilator at her base and one in Bangalore, which is open to be
Sorry,
given to
sorry,
rare disease.
Nisha. Nisha, just want to correct you here. They were not ventilators, but oxygen
Sorry. Yes,
supporters.
oxygen
Yeah,
concentrators. Yes,
concentrators. Yeah.
yes.
So there was a big need in terms of for the families who were already, oxygen. They need oxygen for their daily living, and they were not able to get access to oxygen. And even otherwise, a lot of people in the families, rare disease community were getting COVID, and they had no access to oxygen concentrators or pulse oximeters. So we created this fundraiser together with Indo US.
Yeah, and actually, even direct relief had brought in oxygen concentrators, and various medications were brought from direct relief also. Uh, um, uh, Dr. Prasanna, Momita?
Yeah. In fact, I would like to add, collaboration with
मोमिता,
all the.
आपका सिग्नल थोड़ा आवाज नहीं आ रहा है.
Yes, yes, my signal is slightly poor. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you may actually switch off the video maybe, and then it will be
Yes.
better, right? At least it's.
So, yeah, am I audible now, ma'am?
Yeah, you're audible now. Yeah.
So, ma'am, I would like to add collaboration or communication with international NGOs has been very beneficial in that, because when compassionate program was about to start, there was a lot of legal issues that all hospitals were not able to apply for compassionate use program, and later on DCGI bring on amendment that third phase trial drug can be used in all hospitals. So for that, all the NGOs who are working with SMA helped us with the legal structure in their country. We provided all those data to DCGI and health ministry, and kind of influence the health ministry and DCGI for the amendment, which finally allowed all hospitals to start this, means to take up this compassionate use program. So this kind of collaboration is really, kind of we are supported with the knowledge and guidance. They are already practicing best practice, which can be applied and implemented in our local scenario. With the definitely we need to abide by with the local legalities, but there was a huge achievement that this amendment happened, and now compassionate use program is running in this hospital across India. So I think this kind of collaboration is really beneficial.
Dr. Prasanna?
Yeah, one in terms of COVID, I think I also would like to mention that Karnataka is one of the state where LSD treatment is happening, and we were able to provide cars and get all the permission during the COVID to ferry patients across Karnataka, including Chennai and Andhra Pradesh, and no one missed the enzyme replacement therapy in Karnataka during those periods. That is one. Apart from, anyway, we keep doing this. Supporting patients with oxygen concentrators and other things from years. And very happy to inform that very recently we also got funding of 12 lakh rupees, where we bought various medical devices and kept But unfortunately, because of the logistics challenges, it's more limited to Bangalore because we cannot support patients outside at this juncture. What we do is we don't just give on its own completely. We scrutinize the patient, and to sustain it, if the patients are affordable, we also collect a few, some rent, so that it makes effort. Or sometimes we provide them an installment interest free so that they can pay as their will and wish. There is no compulsory. Every month, sometimes they pay 500, sometimes they pay 1,000 over a period of 2 3 years. So that is how it is supporting, not just giving it free. And we also get back those machines in case if there is an uneventual happens with the children. I think these are the continuous which every NGO must keep doing. And also sustainability is important. Every time we cannot raise and keep giving it. I think we should provide them at a subsidized rate or something, at least the people who can afford. That is one. And second, international collaboration helped us also in a very way. Like we are an active member of all international organizations like IRD, IRC, Eurodices, and other things. If you look at Eurodices in terms of awareness, for the first time last 2 years, they have started including Hindi version in their international rare diseases video messages. I think that is one big leap. And WARD A, India also many, apart from WARD A, there are other PAG groups also who are a part of WHO GNC for RD, that is Global Network for Rare Disease. I think the participation from Indian NGOs are also increasing in the global, which is a welcome move, is what I say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prasanna. Tarun, can I have the next slide, please? Gautam?
The next question is, there are a few NGOs who have combined their activities with fundraising organizations to procure funds for the gene therapy for SMA children in India. So how successful are these NGOs in their mission?
Anybody?
So, ma'am, I would like to take the question. As when we are struggling with the disease, which has cure, which is not available, so first priority of a parent becomes, accessing this medicine, because it's very sorry state that when we have medicine we not access, like seeing your child deteriorating. So about gene therapy, which is a huge costly medicine, and no one in India could even imagine that they can have access to the medicine uh, without any compassionate or humanitarian access program. But some parent took initiative and had the courage to go through this crowdfunding thing, and finally they got access to uh, this gene therapy medicine. Everyone knows about Frida Kamath, who was the first child who raised 16 crore. And taking inspiration from that, many parents, started going to the crowdfunding platform. But what happens? There were many false cases. Which were not actually, for the gene therapy, but parents either knowingly or unknowingly going to the crowdfunding platform and started raising fund for gene therapy. And that crowdfunding platform, because of the lack of knowledge, or probably they were not doing due diligence on the cases properly, they kind of started raising fund for each and every cases. Probably for type 3 cases they are raising gene therapy. Means not about type 3, it's age and weight, body weight, whatever it is. So we being in the SMA space since long, and we have a huge, almost more than 800 patients with us, we felt the need that immediately we need to stop this to give fair chance to each and every deserving patient. So we kind of collaborated with Impact Guru, and that is a collaboration for as a knowledge partner. Each and every case that comes to them for crowdfunding for SMA medicine, we have, we have, you all are in our in our panel. So we kind of, whenever we are confused, we reach out to you, find out either the case is authentic, genuine, can be applied for gene therapy. So that way it stopped, this false cases to raise fund, which was very important to continue, funding, crowdfunding till government has any sustainable mechanism to to keep the faith on. People should not start feeling that they are being lot of fraud cases were happening. So it's kind of, we trying to stop that. In that we did this collaboration, and definitely it helped many patients who did not even think that they could have the treatment access. I would like to give an example of a child, ma'am. We also had a conversation about her. She is a girl whose mother is a cook, earning 5,000 rupees a month, and whose father left them when she was 3 year old, and now she's 12 year old. And through crowdfunding, she had the access of treatment. And recently, she had a spine surgery also. So when there is a no alternative mechanism, crowdfunding is the only option. But we as a parent support group or patient support group, we must come forward to stop the duplicacy, fraud wherever possible. We should be vigilant. So and that is the reason we collaborated, and we are again, means we are looking for further collaboration for the greater access of the treatment till we don't have support from government or any other CSR.
Thank you. Nisha?
Yeah, I just wanted to inquire from Ms. Momita and others in the space how they are also combating um, the stigma and the hesitance from patients to access such crowdfunding platforms. So the role of their specific groups in helping patients access.
So, ma'am, I would thanks for this question. This is a very apt question, I should say. But when it comes to the life of a child, many times parents give up all this apprehension, hesitation. I'm telling about myself. My daughter had a spine surgery. It almost cost 15 lakhs, and which was beyond my capacity at that time, and I went for crowdfunding. And it's a two-way. Yes, I was kind of a bit hesitant, but I had no option. I had to do it. And my supporters, or the donors who supported me, were kind enough to not make me feel that they are kind of doing something, mm, sympathize or something. That they told us that they are trying to help, means they are trying to do a support the child. It's a noble cause, and it's their way of contributing to the society. So there is a section of people who thinks, especially in India, actually in USA and Europe, this kind of people donate for causes. But India, this practice is not yet established. People hardly do it. In some communities they are doing, but not in all communities. So probably this practice needs to be, you know, develop through the education and all. uh, Many times parents are hesitated, not going, especially the people in high strata of the society are hesitant about crowdfunding. But but it happens when there is life is at stake. Probably we give up all this hesitation and go for whatever the best available. So there are cases when stigma is associated and parents are hesitant. But then I have seen more than 80% parents are, seeing that the child will get treatment. That is the only thing they have in mind.
Gita,
Yeah,
Gitanjali?
I'd just like to add something to this. So, we've also collaborated with the likes of Impact Guru and all, and we've sent them cases on individual basis. But really, I think one of the first collaborations that ever happened with any of these so-called fundraising platforms were through parents itself. So there is a very nice, again, a human story where the parents were desperate and They just wanted to try anything, and when they got to know about that the medicine Zolgen SMA is extremely expensive, and they wanted the child to get a chance before the child turns 2 year old. So they started crowdfunding with this. And similarly following them, a few other parents, especially of type 1 kids, they started, because the time window for the type 1 kids is very less if not treated or not given any treatment, or the disease is not managed properly. So these parents, out of desperation, tried these measures, and they were quite successful. I would also give it to these crowdfunding platforms to build a very larger amount of awareness, because they spent a lot of money in marketing, which a normal NGO cannot. And they really brought it to, for example, the disease like SMA actually came on to Kaun Banega Crorepati, so there was people talking about fundraising for SMA on Kaun Banega Crorepati, and the suddenly, and the disease became a household name in terms of awareness, and people knew about it. And that was a very big awareness platform. um, wha- yes, we collaborated with them on another aspect also, like there are certain people, they also, as a platform, did not know so much about the disease. And the patients, either out of awareness or unawareness, or awareness also, sometimes start, it's like, okay, the other one is getting medicine, I will. So Zolgen SMA is not for everyone. It is only for kids either below 2 or under certain weight and age, that medicine can be given. And we could see a bit older patients actually applying for them, and we had to tell them that this medicine, you cannot do this, because this will not lead to good consequences, and they stopped thereby. Another thing is that we have been encouraging some adults to also, when Dr. Nisha said that there is a, the stigma. It's not stigma really, but there is an apprehension for kids. I think every parent could go to any mile, but if you are like type 2 and 3, a patient himself or herself going through a disease and actually have achieved something in life, they are little apprehensive on going to funding platforms and talking about them, and creating those the stories are not so good. It's more out of, like, it's a marketing tool, like in terms of showing the desperation which is there, but it is actually showing the desperation to the entire world on an open platform and telling your story. You need a lot of courage to do that, and you need a lot of hand holding, and you also need a lot of support for anyone to come out with that story. So I think there are not too many type 2 and type 3 kids also, because I think they can, I personally feel they can raise fund for risdiplam as well, but we've not seen many on that front right now. Yeah.
Dr.
So
Prasad.
Just
Yeah,
sorry
ma'am.
to find, just adding to this, as about risdiplam, why the cases are not raising fund, that is not because probably, it's actually because it's a lifetime medicine, and that is the biggest challenge for any crowdfunding, when the treatment is a lifetime treatment. you know because there are donors who are ready to give, probably donate, probably CSR, they are ready to donate if it is a one time cost. But suppose you are donating for a child for a year, you don't know what will happen to next year, either the child will survive or not. So that is the biggest challenge when Spinraza or Risdiplam, fundraising for Risdiplam is even parents are not going, what will happen after certain years. So for now, probably because of the patient support program, most of the children who are raising fund for Risdiplam, they are raising for 9 years or 10 years, but what after that? So CSRs are not, we are not able to reach the CSR fund because of these reasons, that it is a lifetime continuation. So kind of, just I'm sharing on this platform. I thought, means it happens in USA, where insurance is there, and anytime insurance is discontinued, the Biogen does not discontinue the medicine. They keep on giving the medicine if even insurance is discontinued. So if similar kind of scenario or similar kind of program if pharma companies can bring in India probably a patient who is paying for 10 years or 15 years, let's say 5 crore or 7 crore, whatever it is. But after that, lifelong, till the time he or she will be leaving, the medicine will be free. Means, they take out the cost for research and all, means calculated cost, and after
It's okay. Dr. Prasanna, I think Mamita's signal is. Dr.
Madam, I am not a
आप म्यूट में हो पहले आप म्यूट
Prasanna ji, you've come almost a doctor.
आप डॉक्टर हो ना, आप डबल हो, आप डबल डॉक्टर from the this thing क्या कहते हैं originally, you know, क्या कहते हैं, you
I'm
are
doctors of rare diseases.
no.
Actually what
We
happens
cannot.
is Mr. Prasanna, what happens is ना default मुंह से डॉक्टर निकल जाता है. It's okay.
We don't want to take your role. We want to continue as a parent and advocacy. Okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am,
Coming
it takes a lot to be a doctor, and you know, it is not an easy task. And I think that title is a very heavy one and suits you completely.
I'm sorry about this.
So we are talking about the stigma. Yes, stigma is there at every class, but however, it is more middle class and above, because nobody see, if you look at crowdfunding, is nothing in a raw language, you know, asking money from somebody, okay, which nobody likes to do it. But as Momita said, everything takes the second step when it comes to the life of the children and especially your loved one. And we have, I think 99% of the patients, when they wanted crowdfunding, initially there was a hesitance, but when they understood, in fact, some people took 6 months, some people took 1 year, but ultimately they come back when they felt it is not possible. And many people also, to avoid this stigma, they sell their properties completely and try to do their best, which of course is not the best way, because it is not about just giving the treatment, it is also supporting their child lifelong. Okay, and there are many other costs involved. It is not that one time, okay, I spend some X amount and I get away. No, it is not. Okay, because right from the beginning of that first 100 rupees consultancy, which is out of pocket expenses, parents keep giving this. Those, I think nowadays that stigma has overcome, because more number, see, awareness is very key here also. Initially, when we started talking about rare disease itself, forget the crowdfunding. Many people, including my house, family member itself, why you want to tell the problem to the world? That is the first question. But over a period of time, when the PhD activities increased, awareness activities increased across India, and now, especially after SMA coming 16 crore drug, the mentality of the public and society is also changing. And slowly they get to know that it is, yes, costly, and any individual families cannot afford. I think more number of activities will only spread the stigma. And very recently, the central government NPRD policy, which talks about crowdfunding itself, I think it's an opportunity for us to go and raise the crowdfunding. However, personally and also, on behalf of the organization, yes, there are certain concerns when it comes to crowdfunding, because how this money being utilized. And we also know that many parents have misutilized this fund. Okay, because they also got free drug from the companies and they also got some funding. Of course, they may not have raised the complete funding. I think these are the ifs and buts are there. Very recently, I think I heard a news that ICMR is planning to control this crowdfunding and pull it platform. I don't know how successful it's going to be, because the government itself opened a crowdfunding platform and nothing happened, which all of us know. They couldn't raise more than a couple of lakhs. Yes, there are concerns, but right now this is the only way to go to save our children, is what I can say. Thank you.
Regulation, I'm very worried about the regulation bit because as you mentioned, one of our patients also was doing crowdfunding and had some X. I obviously didn't ask what did you do for that, because he got selected for the thing. So I'm just saying whether it should go to the right. And another thing is, I just realized that sometimes prescriptions were taken from us basically for the humanitarian access program, but they were being put on the media. So I think that they should ask the doctor before, for what it is. So after that, because it's important, then we started writing that it is only for the prescription is only for this access program. Initially, we were not writing it because we were submitting it to the for the humanitarian access, but we never thought it was being misused. I thought we thought that it was being submitted only for the global access programs. But then because the copy was with the parent, because they had to get the from the form 12 has to be signed from the ministry, so they had to be given this prescription. So if you're misusing, I think they should also be transparent and tell that it is for crowdfunding, and that doctor should be knowing. Other thing is, we are again going to be having a session because crowdfunding with the 16th webinar on 31st, in which we are trying to get the government on board with also some panelists from the crowdfunding agencies. And I don't know what we hear and understand, because the rare disease policy has put these all in category 3, in which there has to be funded. So whether we have to just look at into it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can we have the next question, Tarun? The next question is, what is the role of government in supporting the activities of NGO who are working for the benefit of children with SMA? And similarly, how can the NGO support the government in policy making? So it's a dual thing, both the ways. Whoever wants to take.
I think the government, one is NGOs are doing a lot of activities. There has to be some dedicated funding given to each NGO. Of course, it's very difficult because 35 lakh plus NGOs in India who have been using this money from over years, and we are not seeing much changes. But when it comes to rare diseases, they should understand long-term management of the patients on behalf of an NGO is not so easy. And parents in India also, they're all volunteers while they are doing their day job and doing it, unlike other countries. Because if you can't compare with other countries, there are at least the basic support from the government managing the children on primary care or at secondary care or a tertiary care, hospitalization, medical devices, and other things. Okay, and the parents in other countries only focus on treatment and clinical research, because balance is at least 80 to 90% is taken care by the government. But in India, it is not so. Right from every cough, cold, one first consultation, everything has to be borne by parent. That is where the activities of or involvement of the parents and development of an NGO by parent group also is at stake. Because how do you juggle between your day job and taking care of your children, and then focusing on NGO activities? Okay, I think there is where government should come and support, so that there is certain allowance given to this PAG, key members, so that they can focus completely on this. Not that is one. Second, also in terms of establishing rehabilitation, long-term supportive care, which otherwise, of course, every time the government says, even if you ask for a physiotherapy, you go to a government hospital. But we all know the physiotherapist in the government hospital is basically for the normal condition or post-operative or orthopedic related. I think they are not trained and enough hands for treating or taking care of rare disease patients. Because when it comes to rare disease patient, every disease is different, and every physiotherapy has to be in a different way, and there has to be certain train. You cannot follow one rule to everyone. I think creating these specialties, creating this expertise, training and development activities is where government and NGO can participate. With the support, we can increase the infrastructure or capacity building. Of course, NGOs can definitely work with the government hospitals, but again, the staff is a very crucial factor when it goes to government. While a local hospital administration is ready to collaborate and NGOs are collaborating, but there are no enough stands. When you speak to the doctors or a specialist, oh, we are already burdened. I think these are the big gaps, even if NGO wants to do. I think there is where some funding and support can come from government to think. And most importantly, the involvement of NGOs in framing the policies is also very important. Okay, of course, there are certain areas where they are involved, but I think it has to be wholehearted involvement is what required in a country like India. Second one is how NGOs can shape policies. I think bringing international experience here, what happens to the policy and what are the local requirement, and also prioritizing the requirement. We may have long list of 100 plus, but which one do you prioritize? Which one do you tell the government saying that, okay, this is what important? Because obviously you have to juggle with too many NGOs, and every NGO of disease specific group will have their own priority. How do you manage and bring it to a common umbrella? Common priorities which affects both number of patients on a long term basis. I think there is where the discussion between the NGO and government can effectively frame a policy for effective implementation and long term goal, because it is not one time activity, it is a continuous activity, and every year new challenges keep coming. Even if you list out 10 important things, and obviously next year 11th might come. So I think juggling between the continuous coordination, involvement, discussion between the government and NGOs can help. And most important, one more bigger challenge in a country like India is we have state government. Look at the policy. The group 2 is left to the state government. If you look at, we all went to the state government saying, because one is we did not have enough strength and support at the state level to talk to the state government. That is when we wanted a centralized policy which will guide and navigate or moderate the implementation of a rare disease policy in a holistic manner and equally across the state. But now it is cut into two parts. Group 2, you say, let state government manage. Now state government, how will they manage when there is no support from the central government, because there are no enough capacities in some of the states? And you cannot expect each NGO to go and talk to the state government and implement policy. Okay. Again, there will not be an uniformity. If there is certain one NGO is very strong in one state, probably it can go, which is good. But what happens to the other rare disease? I think these are the things which requires continuous involvement of both NGOs and government together, so that there is an amicable, long-term, prioritized policy can be implemented on a smooth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll just
One second. Before Nisha, I'll just handing over to you. Just want to say that we are really are going to come to the end of this session, and then we'll have the DMD session. So if any points we want to raise with the generic can be shared in the next one. But then I'll just come back. Nisha, you speak, and I know Mr. Sunil wants to ask. We'll take your query, Mr. Sunil, afterwards, because we have the other one also, DMD ka hai. We'll just talk to you. So we'll definitely allow you to speak your question and ask your question directly. Nisha, आप बोलिए. उसके बाद there are just two things I'll flag before we come to an end to the session, and I'll ask all of you panelists to give your final take. But I'll just flag two small points. Yeah, please, Nisha.
Yeah, I lowered my hand because I agree with almost everything Mr. Shirol said, in that both NGOs and government agencies should work hand in hand, because then only you can have reach the total scale that is needed. And in bringing the patient's voice to the policy making platform, individual patient's voice, not only where there is a very strong patient group, those patients and those diseases cannot be prioritized just because some diseases don't have that kind of an organized setup. So there has to be a kind of a clearinghouse at the government level, central government or the state level, where patients can come in with their requirements and be trained by these smaller NGOs, even not just the ones which have a larger reach. So that is something that the government can definitely play a role in being able to imbibe the voices of all patients. And the rest is general, so we can take it up later as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Nisha.
I'll just like to add in this.
Gitanjali, I'm coming
like
to you.
to add in this.
Gitanjali, I'm coming to you. I'm just coming to all of you. You and then Momita, and then both of the Nisha and Prasanna. And just one thing, two things I want to flag, because you can add that in your answer, because now it's coming for a final take, because you and Momita can continue, but then next comes the DMD part. So you will be very important in these questions. Suppose a SMA parent has lost a SMA child, and then they want to sort of donate certain things they have, those ventilators and all, and they also want to sort of give back to the society. So how do you support them and allow them and integrate them and use their services? And other thing is, what are the source of fundings which NGOs look for your sustenance, because you're going to employ these two additional things I'm asking. And then Gitanjali, you, then Momita can can give the final take. And then Nisha and Prasanna, if they have to say specifically for SMA, otherwise we will move ahead. And meanwhile, Dr. Kakuli is sharing the poll questions on the screen, which poll questions on the screen, and then meanwhile, we go on with the final comments. Gitanjali, yours, all messages, and even addressing these two if you want, and Momita. And then if Nisha and Prasanna want to say something specifically about SMA, but if they can say final take after the DMD also. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I was saying for the last question that in terms of government, they really we need to have a communication bridge somewhere between the government and the patient voices. I would say there are a lot of avenues where the government can really help. There is CSR possibilities that need to be explored for raising funds for treatment, for management of the disease, for research. Then there is, all these PSUs have certain access funds which can be explored for the treatment or fundraising for rare diseases. Then insurance as a tool to be provided for rare diseases is a big chapter that needs to be addressed. Of course, in policy making, there is collaboration or more hearing of the patient groups are definitely needed, because we are the ones who are actually facing the challenges. And I think the intent from the government is very clear. They want to help. They are doing the things are moving forward. But I think a more cohesive effort is needed. More funds are needed. More awareness is needed. And treatment possibilities, management possibilities are needed. I would just say, somewhere one of the panelists said that, okay, the what if the medicine is provided for 10 years? Ask a parent or a patient. Every life, every day is important. A 10-year horizon is a very big one for anyone to live. When we are doing a heart surgery on someone or a cancer treatment, we do not know whether the person will be living tomorrow or not. It's the same thing with rare diseases. If a medicine is needed every day, it is needed every day for survival. It is as basic as one for diabetes as well. A patient with diabetes needs that injection every day. It's the same thing. So survival is, yes, treatment is needed for the management of the disease, so that treatment should be provided. And these rare disease patients have huge contribution to the society. We have people contributing a lot to the society in terms of being IAS officers, being PhD holders, being scientists, being graphic designers, being policymakers. They are contributing back to the society, and they have a right to live. And there was a very big campaign that we had run called SMA Fighters Mein Hai Dum, which was like bringing out their special talent, whether they can sing, whether the achievements that they have made in their society, which is like something that I really wanted to say as a last note. Now, I think as a final note, I will just say that it's a big battle and it's a huge challenge, and we all have to collaborate together in the working. The more NGOs come together and work for the same causes or the common cause, the better it will be for the diseases, and all stakeholders should come together and try to resolve this problem going forward. And hope is a strong word, and we are just hoping that things will get better and there'll be a brighter future for the rare disease community going forward. Thank you, Dr. Shefali, for this platform to us.
Thank you, Gitanjali. Mamita?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for the question. So, as there's a question that when a type 1 child is dying, and if the parent want to contribute and continue with the battle, so there has been many cases in our community where the child is no more, but the parent is with us, fighting the battle with us for the other children in terms of their knowledge, in terms of their support, in terms of awareness. So, and we provide kind of emotional support and thing they have, the void because of the loss of child. Probably we try to fill up with that being the part of the battle. So there has been many cases, and it's kind of supporting them emotionally. At the same time, they are part of the battle. And as a closing note, I would like to say that these voices, these noises which are being made will definitely bring a sustainable treatment solution each and every day is important.
Okay, I think there's a connected an issue. Nisha and Prasanna ji want to add something, or we can anything. Momita,
So I was
yeah, you're back, Momita. Yeah, Momita.
so yeah. Yeah. So last note is that our hashtag for QRSM India battle against continues. It continue till every child will have access to treatment. And thank you for each and everyone, Prasanna, Gitanjali, ma'am, each and everyone, because we are together, we are this far, and probably there's little more to go, and each and every child will have access to treatment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Prasanna, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. I think fundraising comes, we are talking too much of CSR funding. Closing note, CSR fund is being eyed by many people. Okay. And one is when I say many people, right from local municipal corporation where the company is located, MLA, MP, CM, and PM. And if you look at it during the COVID, the entire CSR fund was diverted to PM Care for COVID care. Okay, that is one. Second, uh, uh, you know, CSR fund basically comes more for project basis, not for the treatment. I think that is the feedback which I have when I interact with most of these companies, because they don't want to support the treatment, especially when it is long term. Because their question is, if I give this year, what happens to the next year to the child? There is a kind of psychological pressure on the CSR companies who funds. Okay, so far the idea is funding can come for your projects, but treatment is definitely a question mark, is what I would like to say. But however, the fund raising is a very integral part of NGOs to sustain and also to support their own initiatives and parent support group. We need to continue and keep finding innovative ways and find. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sunil, you have anything related to SMA? आप unmute करेंगे, Mr. Sunil, like attended, allowed to talk. Yeah, we'll allow. Yeah. Mr. Sunil, you can ask your question. आप question पूछ सकते हैं, please. Meanwhile, ये है कि सारे NGOs को मिलके काम करना है, all in India and outside. And actually, एक और चीज है कि सात लोग cooperation से करेंगे तो काम है, because ultimately goal is same for patient welfare and family support, right? So, and basically going towards getting the best possible care for the children. So I think everybody has to be together. Mr. Sunil, you have been unmuted. आप बोल सकते हैं?
Madam, just I am not an SMA parent. I am the parent, DMD parent.
Then you can, sir. We'll ask the then you can ask the question in the next panel, sir. Then we'll close this panel, huh, sir? Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you. Raise your hand again, sir. Huh? We'll definitely allow you to ask the question. Thank you so much, and I thank Gitanjali, Momita to have joined, and obviously Nisha and Dr. Nisha and Prasanna ji, who are going to continue gratefully for the next session also. Thank you very much, Gitanjali and Momita, for that. You can stay on. I mean, it'll be really helpful for the other one. So, Abhi, I welcome all the esteemed panelists for the session, which will be focusing. The second part of the session is role of NGOs for DMD and other dystrophies. This is going to be basically the 14th of the session series of the webinars, which is going to be there. And this part, we thought that dystrophies is slightly on a different note. So we are invited many NGOs from this dystrophy area. So we will now I request Dr. Kakuli to kindly introduce our panelists. Please.
Thank you, Dr. Shefali, for initiating the 14th session. Today, we definitely have Dr. Nisha and Dr. Prasanna, who had been in the previous session. Dr. Nisha Venugopal, who is a PhD, is a program manager at Indo-US Organization for Rare Diseases. Nisha has a PhD in life science from CSIR CCMB India. She has studied the role of cellular antenna in adult skeletal muscle stem cells. Nisha hopes to use her experience in cell biology of rare diseases and policy research to support and help patients gain access to life-saving therapies through research, outreach, and advocacy efforts. Today we have Mr. Prasanna. Mr. Prasanna currently serves as the co-founder and executive director of ORDI, an umbrella organization that represents 7,000 diseases in India. Mr. Prasanna has also co-founded and presided over first national level parent support group for children with ultra rare diseases, lysosomal storage disorder support society of India, with the goal of raising awareness and shared resources. Additionally, we have for the DMD, we have Ms. Rama Lakshmi and Ms. Sharada. They are representing Bharat MD Foundation, and they had been sharing many useful details in our prior sessions also. Bharat MD Foundation is a NGO which is active in the area of DMD. We have Mr. Krishna Kumar, who is the vice chairman of Mindy Mobility in Dystrophy Trust, which is a coalition of muscular dystrophy patients, work for upliftment of differently abled person. He was diagnosed with a genetic disease SMA type 2 when he was 6 months old. We have Miss Anubha Singhal representing Ayush.
Shefali, so I would like to maybe you mentioned something different about me. Myself, the chairman for Mind Trust, and myself affected with the Becker muscular dystrophy.
I'm sorry, Dr. Kakuli
Yeah.
picked up from the net. She was just trying to sorry.
Yeah, no problem, because we have both two Krishna Kumar from my trust, so that's created the confusion. Sorry for that. No problem.
I'm sorry. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
no.
for thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, sir, for correcting. Definitely, we didn't have many details which were available. This was the detail which we found, so that was which I could relate to. Miss Anubha Singhal, who is representing Ayushkama Healthcare, is one of the leading preventive and management healthcare company. And Ayushkama provides highest quality of preventive healthcare packages for the comfort of DMD patients. We have with us from Parent Project Muscular Dystrophy Group, Mr. Ambrish Kapadia and Mr. Anand Shah. PPMD is a registered charity organization for more than a decade with only one objective to provide best possible help and assistance to muscular dystrophy patients. The primary role is providing information, solutions, latest standard of care and treatment guidance, if possible, for children, irrespective of what caste, creed, and different levels of society or state of India they belong to. We have with us Ms. Sanjana, who is from Solan. Thank you, Ms. Sanjana, for joining us again. Sanjana Goyal is a fashion designer, has set up an Asia's largest facility for people with muscular dystrophy in Solan in 2016. Sanjana Goyal represents the Indian Association of Muscular Dystrophy that she has established the same year and started by holding camps for patients in Solan. So far, 25 camps had been held across the country. Last year, Ms. Goyal set up the Manav Mandir. In 2004, she was honored the National Award for Welfare of Persons with Disabilities by the President. Welcome all. I now request Dr. Shefali Gulati to facilitate the panel.
Sorry, just to correct you, ma'am. So I think the description that was mentioned about Ayushkama Foundation was a little different. And it's Ayushkama Foundation, and I think Ayushkama Healthcare might be something different. And we are a patient advocacy group, and myself, a warrior of limb girdle muscular dystrophy and an architect. So we work for the welfare of different types of muscular dystrophy and primarily limb girdle muscular dystrophy. Thank you.
Anubha, thanks for correction. Dr. Kakuli has picked up everything from the net. Net may not be correct all the time. That is what it is there, right?
Thank you, Anubha.
Yeah, thanks. So we start off with the slide. Would you be just posting some questions which will be put, and and then anybody can answer at those questions. Basically, what are the NGOs in India and globally which are working for the welfare of DMD patients, and what are the activities of an NGO in the welfare of patients with DMD and other muscle dystrophies? So we can start off and go on. Who wants to start, please? Sanjana, you want to start? Mr. Krishna Kumar, you want to start?
Good morning, ma'am. It's an honor to be here as part of Bharat MD Foundation. I'm parent of a 24-year-old DMD patient, and I have lived in different parts of the world, so I do understand the need and the necessity for the NGOs. Primarily, I would just like to say that initially, when my son was diagnosed, the first thought that struck me was how are other parents managing? What was the support system that they had? And in those days, we had nothing to go forward, nor Google was available as today. So that's when we tried to see in different countries what were the facilities available, and we found that USA had much advanced NGOs like PPMD and Cure Duchenne. And as a person who has involved myself in all those organizations and participating in the various events, I realized when I relocated back to India that there's a lot that the NGO can do, both locally and in collaboration with the global partners. It NGOs definitely have a lot of role to spread awareness, to reach out to even to the last single person who has DMD, and educate them, because right now we find many of them are diagnosed but they are not even aware of what type of MD they have. They're not even aware of what are the genetic deletions or whatever is there. So it's a lot of wide gap between what we are facing here and what is happening abroad. So I feel that the NGOs do definitely need to play a greater role, not only in spreading awareness, but also educating the parents and the patients who have been diagnosed, right from the basic necessities of whether they have to have access to education, a basic facility like even going to a hospital in the lack of absence of any transport facilities. So a lot of work needs to be done in this area, and I'm glad that when I try to search, and I found there are quite a few DMD organizations which are working for the benefit of all the patients. So I feel there is hope, and we can go forward in this, in spreading awareness, and also trying to uh, seek whatever is required for this DMD patients. Not only for the pediatric, because most of it so far has been concentrated on the pediatric, but also to the young adults who are now in the transition stage and also have so many challenges that they confront, especially in terms of social isolation and also in terms of opportunities for their development. Thank you.
Can I go next?
Please, please, please.
Yeah. So thanks, madam, for giving that the right information. So based on your experience, so that is absolutely right. So even though that everyone is worried about the medicine and all, but few other aspect, especially it's like the awareness. So awareness is one of the important fact. The many cases, especially in the people with the metro cities and all, so their kids having the right analysis, and they know that what kind of deletion or duplication in the DMDs and all. But many other cases, it's like rural kids and all, they just said, okay, my kid having DMD, so they are not doing any further analysis. And another thing, like one kid is born with the DMD, so they have the chance like the second kid also with the DMD. What exactly happening? So they don't have the clear idea of the genetic issues related to this particular disease and all. So the counseling and awareness is very much important. So especially for these the NGOs, so we can do the lot of things and all. So especially in this, when we started our organization, this My Interest in 2017 in Kerala. So we found a lot of issues and gaps. And another thing is like the DMD kids, it's like he's dropping out from the school because the parents is not able to send their kids to the school because you know that they do not have the mobility devices and all. So their education is a very the big thing. So they have to provide the right education. So that kind of in that area, so the NGOs can do a lot of help. And another thing is like the DMD kind of disease. Right now, we do not have any proper medication to cure it. But in the coming the near future, if you find a medicine also, that will be the converting the DMD to a much more in a less severe dystrophy like Becker muscular dystrophy or something. So still that kind of the kid. So once the kid moved to his maybe the adulthood, and also he required a lot of support to survive it in this community. So we need to provide that education, and then the skill development, that is very much important. So it's like otherwise getting the livelihood is very much important. The similar ways that providing the adequate support for the it's like the medicine. So many cases what happened, so the people are suffering because they do not have sufficient fund available. So we have to provide the financial support, and also in these all areas, so NGOs can the support. And one more thing, we do one of the very important program. It's like adolescent leadership program. So we took that the DMD kids into a group, and it's like keep the 10 kids in a group and provide necessary support. And in that way, so a lot of activities can NGOs can provide for the sustainable development of the DMD as well as other muscular dystrophy kids.
Yes. Can I
Yeah.
speak?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, Sanjana. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shefali, for giving this opportunity. And I would like to share कि हम लोगों ने जब शुरू किया था, it was in 1992. So that was long back. उस वक्त क्या था कि it was a charity based issue. Any person with any kind of disability, that was charity based. और अब क्या है, right based है. वो बहुत ही अच्छा एक paradigm shift जो आया 2006 onwards. ये उस वक्त हम लोगों ने काम करना शुरू किया था when people didn't know about muscular dystrophy. Nobody knew what muscular dystrophy is. So what we started doing is we started giving practical solutions, because उस वक्त we were also not very much aware कि what exactly helps, किस चीज से मदद मिलती है. So we started organizing small camps in the shape of picnics, and we would give all kind of recreation and whatever children have not experienced. Like we would take them to cinema halls to see movies, and they will give them fun evenings. So all these things we started with. उसके बाद धीरे धीरे जैसे जैसे खुद को अवेयरनेस है that physiotherapy helps, तो physiotherapy clinics हिमाचल based है हमारा. तो we were at that time working only in Himachal. तो हमने हिमाचल में physiotherapy departments खुलवाए with the government support कि physiotherapy is required in all the districts. So we started like that. उसके बाद बच्चे, when we got to know that education becomes an issue, then again employment becomes an issue. All these things we took up one by one, and we started working towards practical solutions. तो हमने 2006 onwards हम बहुत actively government के साथ involve हुए, and we made it possible कि muscular dystrophy को 1995 act में शामिल किया जाए. So it happened in 2016 when this new act came in. उस time पे ये 1995 act में it became one of the it was identified as one of the disabilities. उसके बाद issues address होने शुरू हुए और बहुत सारी चीजें, बहुत अच्छा एक shift हमने देखा society में, वो चीजें आनी शुरू हुई. So what we have established now is a center, because awareness camps हमने throughout India 25 किए, different regions में, different states में, और हम लोगों ने ये देखा कि 2-3 दिन की publicity से, 2-3 दिन की awareness से करीब 100, 116, 150 लोग register हो जाते थे. So that was not a small thing. वो हमें लगने लगा कि prevalence बहुत ज्यादा है और इसका कहीं ना कहीं कोई data, कोई कुछ इस तरह का collection नहीं हो रहा. So ये बहुत जरूरी है 2-3 चीजें कि डेटाबेस होना चाहिए एक कंसोलिडेटेड, ताकि गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसीज अच्छी बन के आ सके. One. Second thing is we have to, all of us together, we have to come up for advocacy with the government. पर हमें बहुत सिस्टमैटिक मैनर में गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसीज को देखते हुए कि पहले गवर्नमेंट की क्या पॉलिसीज हैं और नई पॉलिसीज हम किस तरह से ला सकते हैं, उनको बहुत अच्छे तरीके से हमें पुट अप करना पड़ेगा, सो दैट हम एकदम से हल्ला मचाएं या एजिटेशंस करें. आई फील दैट्स नॉट द राइट we should not go in for agitations. We should work hand in hand with the government. हम उनको support करें कि this is the way it has to be done. So अभी जो हमने rehabilitation center establish किया है, we have a 50-bedded facility with us. इसमें in 1 month we hold 3 camps. In a 7 days camp, जितनी भी चीजें अभी तक डिस्कस हुई हैं वो सारे कंपोनेंट्स हम उसमें ऐड करते हैं. लाइक थेरेपीज तो होती हैं. हाइड्रोथेरेपी वी हैव, जिसमें कि एवरीवन नोज, यहाँ पे सब डॉक्टर्स हैं, कि कितना ज्यादा बेनिफिट होता है. तो फिजिकली वी टेल द पेरेंट्स दैट इफ वी गिव रेगुलर फिजियोथेरेपी, दैट मेक्स अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंस. बहुत फर्क पड़ता है उससे. तो वो अवेयरनेस हमारे पेरेंट्स में नहीं होती. लोग आते हैं तो वो कहते हैं हमें ठीक से पता ही नहीं है कि फिजियोथेरेपी करवानी चाहिए. दैट इज वन थिंग. सेकेंड थिंग इज कि उनको ये बताना कि इवन इफ इट्स इनक्योरेबल, इवन इफ देयर इज नो क्योर, देयर आर लॉट मेनी थिंग्स व्हिच कैन बी डन. बीइंग ऑन अ व्हील चेयर इज नॉट द एंड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. हमें बहुत कुछ करना है और बहुत कुछ हम कर सकते हैं. प्रेजेंट को जाने ना दें हाथ से. ये सोच के हम बैठ नहीं सकते. जो रूरल एरियाज में और जो डिफरेंट एरियाज में, जैसे कृष्ण कुमार जी ने बोला, वी हैव टू टेल देम कि, क्योंकि वहां पर क्या होता है रूरल एरियाज में, फार्मिंग इज द प्रायोरिटी. वो सोचते हैं कि जब जो बच्चा खेत में काम नहीं कर सकता, वो किसी लायक नहीं बचा. तो वो उसको सेकंड प्रायोरिटी पे डाल के उसको एजुकेशन से भी हटा देते हैं, और वो शाम को जाके पेरेंट्स उस बच्चे को देखते हैं. सो वंस वी क्रिएट स्मॉल अवेयरनेस, हम थोड़ा सा उनको बताते हैं, गाइड करते हैं. इंटरनेट ढूंढ के, यूट्यूब से लोग ढूंढ के हमारे तक पहुंचते हैं. आप सोचिए कि गांव-गांव में लोग इस माध्यम से पहुंचे, कितनी दूर-दूर के डाउन ट्रॉडन्स तक यहाँ तक पहुंचते हैं. वी गाइड देम नॉट ओनली कि यहाँ पर आने के बाद ही उनको गाइडेंस दें. जो लोग भी हमारे साथ जुड़ जाते हैं, हम उनको रेगुलर बेसिस पे गाइडेंस देते हैं कि आप अपने एरिया में भी बैठ के क्या क्या कर सकते हैं, किस तरह से आप फिजिकल थेरेपी रेगुलर प्रोवाइड करा सकते हैं अपने बच्चे को. और एजुकेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, एजुकेशन के लिए भेजें. तो ये 2-3 चीजें हम पकड़ के चलते हैं. प्लस यहाँ पर जो आ जाते हैं उनको सभी कंपोनेंट्स मिलते हैं, जैसे कि रिक्रिएशन, पिकनिक्स, अदर देन फिजियोथेरेपी एंड हाइड्रोथेरेपी. तो एक ओवरऑल पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट होता है. प्लस हम सोसाइटी को इन्वॉल्व करते हैं कि जो स्कूल्स एंड कॉलेजेस के वॉलंटियर्स हैं, उनके साथ हम उनका टाइम स्पेंड करवाते हैं. पिकनिक्स में भी वो जाते हैं, शाम की रिक्रिएशनल एक्टिविटीज में भी वो आते हैं. तो एक नॉर्मल सोसाइटी को भी इस बात की अवेयरनेस होती है दैट दिस काइंड ऑफ ग्रुप इज देयर इन द इन द सोसाइटी, जिनकी डिसेबिलिटी कई बारी 90% से भी ऊपर हो जाती है. सो हाउ टू हैंडल देम एंड हाउ टू ट्रीट देम. तो ये सारी चीजें जो इंटरमिक्सिंग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाती है. एंड फाइनेंशियली हेल्प करने के लिए हमने जो शुरू किया था, उसमें हमने छोटे छोटे वेंचर्स बच्चों को शुरू करके दिए थे, लाइक फोटोस्टैट की मशीन्स एंड सपोर्टिंग देम विद व्हील चेयर्स, पावर्ड व्हील चेयर्स. तो लॉन्ग बैक इन 2008 ऑनवर्ड्स हमने पावर्ड व्हील चेयर्स भी बहुत लोगों को दी और देनी शुरू कर दी थी. सो दैट मेड अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंस. एक छोटा सा गैजेट, आप सोचिए कि जिंदगी बदल देता है इंसान की. अब हमारे बीच में कुछ डॉक्टर्स भी थे, नॉट डीएमडी बट एलजीएमडी ऑफ कोर्स. तो वो कहते हैं कि जब हम डिग्निफाइड वे में अपने क्लिनिक में जाते हैं पावर्ड चेयर पे, पहले कोई हमारी चेयर को धकेल के लेके जाता था, बट नाउ व्हेन वी मूव वी फील दैट वी आर आई एम अ डॉक्टर. और जो अपने यहाँ पर सेंटर पे आते हैं डीएमडी के बच्चे, वो रोल मॉडल्स को देखते हैं व्हील चेयर पर घूमते हुए, तो दे फील कि वी वुड आल्सो लाइक टू बी इंडिपेंडेंट. और पावर्ड चेयर्स का इस्तेमाल करके they feel that we can go to school, we can work, we can do so many things. तो इस तरह के गैजेट्स को भी लोगों तक पहुंचाना चाहिए. इस तरह की अवेयरनेस सब तक आनी चाहिए, सब फैमिलीज में आनी चाहिए कि और फिर बहुत सारे और भी गैजेट्स हैं, जैसे हॉइस्ट सिस्टम है या फिर बेड्स हैं जो कि विच कैन बी, जिनके हेड रेज हो जाते हैं, हॉस्पिटल बेड्स होते हैं. जिस तरह से उस तरह की चीजें हम हाउस होल्ड में अपने घरों में भी इस्तेमाल करें तो बहुत बहुत सुविधा बच्चों को मिल जाएगी. तो इस तरह की चीजों में हम लोग प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंस सबको देते हैं सेंटर पे. सो टू एंड विद इट, अभी इतना ही, बाकी जो भी कुछ बीच में आएगा I'll be there.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly make my points. So, just starting with the number of NGOs that are there in India and globally. So, as we can see, there are a lot of NGOs that are representing here today. And I understand that looking at the population of India and everything, there are NGOs that are working commonly for all types of muscular dystrophies and also specifically for DMD. So globally, what we have seen is there are NGOs that are working separately for even all these subtypes of limb girdle muscular dystrophy. So starting with common organizations such as the Speak Foundation, then specifically for DMD, main organizations such as PPMD, and other organizations for different types of subtypes of muscular limb girdle muscular dystrophies for every subtype. And there's again a plethora of organizations that are working for muscular dystrophy. So, coming up to the activities that in NGOs that are really important, and definitely they cannot be anything that is said that they can be nothing about us without us. So, we are the patient advocacy groups and the patient and family advocacy groups. We have to take the stand in initiating all the parts, whether be the management of the disease or the research in our own country, and all the other parameters that have been talked already by Sanjana ma'am and other panelists. So we as an NGO focus on educating the patients for daily management of the rare diseases, including the dietary supplements, assistive devices, physical therapy, then mental and emotional well-being and support, then initiating and promoting research for India that we all as organizations are collectively looking forward to. Starting with creating a data bank, that's the first and foremost thing. Then helping patients with the proper diagnosis, fundraising, and so on. So also spreading awareness, as that's the first phase that Sanjana ma'am very well said that how beautifully they have done that and started that in India. So there can be various ways of spreading awareness. Definitely, we are going to talk about that in our upcoming questions. And then providing and telling the patients with muscular dystrophy about their rights is again a very important criteria, and making them realize that living with dignity is their right, and what are the ways on how they can do that with the support of the policies that we have and the organizations like us. So thank you so much.
Thanks. The next question is Dr. Gautam. Can you read it?
So, what are the activities done by NGOs to promote awareness during the DMD Awareness Day? And do NGOs collaborate with each other during such activities? And what is the role of NGOs in joint efforts of advocacy beyond borders?
Yeah, anybody can start.
Hi all, this is Rama Lakshmi from Bharat MD Foundation. Hello.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
ma'am,
please.
I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Ma'am, coming to the activities of promoting awareness, what we believe is awareness and education is a continuous process, ma'am. That cannot be done in a single day, or it cannot be on a one go. It is a continuous process. Awareness among the parents as well as among the awareness across the stakeholders. That is very, very important. Coming to the activities of awareness, what Bharat MD Foundation is doing is we are reaching colleges in educating and creating them what is muscular dystrophy. That is the first point what we are doing. We recently we have conducted one awareness program on Doctors Day, which was on 1st July in ESIC Medical College in Hyderabad, creating awareness to doctors as well as the public and the patients and the parents also. Coming to one more important initiative, what we have taken up is we are organizing small camps in societies, wherein we have this community societies where we have big buildings where we are organizing small camps, mentioning what is muscular dystrophy, what are the कैसे पता चलेगा वो बच्चा muscular dystrophy से है. We are on those lines. We are creating awareness, ma'am, and we are trying to reach the local people in the local language, because as many of us pointed out, saying that India is a vast country with a lot of cultures and a lot of languages. We need to reach out to each individual in every part of the country, in every part of the village. That is also one of our major activities.
Madam Rama, I'll just stop you in between. Yeah. Just 1 minute, if you don't mind. Can you also pin up Mr. Prasanna? Mr. Prasanna has to log out right now. He's been there with us very gratefully from our side. He's been there with us since 10 o'clock, but he has to, for the SMA session, he has to leave for another meeting. So
Sure, ma'am.
I want Mr. Prasanna, please, overall, from the DMD point of view, you know, all the things, what about the, what do you think? What do you think should be the role, you know, and is he already left? Okay, if he's left, then okay, continue then. Yeah, he's already told in the previous. Okay, thanks. Okay, yeah. Continue.
Yes, ma'am. Coming to the awareness campaign, we do have lots of WhatsApp groups which we support many of the parents with their doubts and any clarifications they require. That is also one kind of awareness we are doing, and we have a few support groups wherein every month we do have an awareness campaign. Somehow the senior parent talking to us, or a physiotherapist, or any person experienced with the DMD, they will be joining every month. We do have a virtual meeting every Saturday, or in a week, or monthly once or twice we have a specific mothers group. We motivate each other emotionally, and we support them in matter of education. I mean, many of the children, they are not given proper education. We support them, and we inform them about the online facilities we are having. We are also inform about the national open school, which the central government is giving the opportunity to give proper education. And the other thing is, I'm very happy and delighted to see many of our organizations. Anand Shah ji joined from PPMD. They are very active in the research area. They are promoting many research activities. Anubha Singhal, a very close friend of ours from AIIMS Foundation, she has done one activity, Enable Access, which helped many of them in understanding what are the areas, I mean, where the ramps are, and how any house or any home in the rural areas to be equipped with the facilities if a child is using a wheelchair. Coming to Krishna Kumarji from Kerala, a very like, he is doing very good activity. He's reaching out every person in Kerala regarding SMA and DMD. Prasanna sir, all of us know about him. Sanjana ma'am, the rehab and the facility she has given world class in Himachal Pradesh. All of us look up to her. I also I wish to thank Shifali ma'am for collaborating and getting us all into this platform. Our intention as Bharat MD Foundation is we request all of us to come onto one umbrella. We need to fight for the cause of the kid. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. I think I'm going to now request Mr. Anand. Mr. Anand to speak, please.
Yeah, ma'am. So basically, initially when we started out, awareness was one of the main objectives for each and every, I think, NGO out here. Slowly we started to realize that even after awareness, parents were really confused that what is the next step, what is going to happen to my kid in the future. So to basically how to sustain them till some cure is found, we needed to start with some MD clinics, which is there in USA and UK also countries. In the MD clinic, it is found that the disease is basically under the neurologist, but you need an orthopedic, you need an endocrinologist, you need a cardiac. So in Mumbai, at least, we started out having 5-6 doctors coming together of various fields, creating a MD clinic out here, and create the awareness to the parent that saying that being a neurological disease, but still you need to meet all these various field doctors under their supervision, start different medications till a cure is found. That's one of the key important, where in all the states we need to start MD clinics, which is very much important. The doctors initially are very much reluctant also to start different medications. In PPMD, basically, me and all the colleagues, Amrish Kapadia or Faizan, all are parents of DMD kids itself, whom we have started out this PPMD. Second thing we found out is the medication and the research activities which are happening in USA and UK mainly. The solution which is going to come is going to be very, very expensive for Indian population. And when it will come in, it was a secondary issue itself. So we started focusing more up time on research activities. So right now, in fact, there are 4 projects which we have funded. And that also is intramural funding itself, which is happening because government doesn't fund in any preclinical trials right now. So all the funding is with the help of parents only who are interested for future. So all preclinical trials which are currently, we are around 4 clinical trials which are going on, out of which one success we have found with Dr. Arka Ghosh, and now we are planning to move ahead with the clinical trials itself. So I think along with the awareness, it's more important for each and every state. In fact, we all NGOs should come together under your guidance, ma'am, and create MD clinics at each and every state level or at least city level to things work out more easily for all the parents to go about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Krishna Kumar, would you like to add something?
As Anandji quoted correctly, it is like it's very much important to concentrate the more on the research part as well. So unfortunately, if you do the comparison between that SMA what happened, at least it having a, we can highlight, okay, we have this kind of medicine. And what happened in the state of Kerala, what happened? So for the SMA medicine, the government itself, they started the crowdfunding and they were able to provide that medicine for almost 40 kids. But that will happen only when that we were able to show a proper medication in DMD. So that way, so Dr. Anandji mentioned correctly, so we have to work it out. But doing this clinical trial and the preclinical trials are, it's not easy to do a single NGO to do everything. So that required that the collaboration and the collaboration between all the NGOs. It's like some in our case, in this group, the few NGOs are very good in like providing the awareness and providing the support to the kids, and few are good in it's like the collaborating that research initiatives. So we all should group together and fight against this cause. So that will help us to make more progress.
Thank you. Thank you so
Ma'am, I
much.
would just like to add to what Mr. Anand Shaji has said.
Yeah.
I do agree about the neuromuscular clinic teams, which should be at least there in every state, or at least to begin with in each zone, and then percolate down to the state. As a parent who has taken my son to PPMD certified centers abroad, I do know how effective it is in managing the child's condition, especially everything. When even if a certain medicine is given, if it has a reaction, then whom do you approach? The endocrinologist, come nutritionist, how they, because everything is case by case. So it is very encouraging as a parent to see that the doctors, each doctor comes, meets the child in the clinic, and then they sit, they do the case studies, and then they get back to us and tell us how we have to move forward. And they're all, and one thing which I really want the hospitals to do is have a patient my chart portals, so that any parent who has any doubt or clarification can just reach out an email to the doctor on the my chart portals, which is there abroad. And if such facilities can also be provided here, at least in the DMD clinics, so that would be very, very helpful, I feel. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. May I just add that we are having this neuromuscular disorder clinics from the late 1970s at AIIMS. Although yeah, it is it's I mean and we also have a tele helpline. We've been running that since 13th April 2018. Yeah, so it's been more than around 5 years now, nearly 4.5 years or so, in which we are providing tele helpline and tele consultation to various neurological and neurodevelopmental disorders, including neuromuscle diseases. And we also have this, we have emails in which they can contact. We have a website which is www.pedneuroaims.org. On the website, we have a parents corner, and where we have patient information booklets in Hindi and English for DMD and SMA as well, along with other neurological and neurodevelopmental conditions. And we also, we have various e-learning modules. We have been doing webinars, and all these current webinars will also be put with QR code on the website. Our website, this is all being live streamed in YouTube, and at with the QR code, it will all be available on our website and Global Genes website. In addition, we are, I think that we should have the regional translations of the patient information material, and for all the newer drugs which have come, especially if that is more true for DMD, SMA, because you have those three which we discussed, but we have to give SOPs to the parents and the correct follow-ups. What are the do's and don'ts for the parents? Everything has to be given to them in their regional languages for anything. And that is why those therapies and all the physiotherapy and everything, all holistic multidisciplinary management, the patient information booklets we have in Hindi, English. If any of the parent groups want to, take and adapt into regional languages, we'll be very happy to do, to collaborate. And if any other additions and things you want us to add, we will do. And during this course also, we are making certain, patient information material. If any one of you wants to suggest something, I would be very happy to incorporate. So I think we go to the next question. Can you please, what are the, fundraising campaigns being run by NGOs to procure fund for the treatment of children? That becomes very important now that we understand. And, with DMD, the cost is prohibitive, although it's prohibitive both sides, but the maintenance cost, like I'll just tell you, we have whatever is available is exon is 51. So you have exon skipping at 45, 51 and 53. 51 is that has the maximum experience, in which we have already discussed pehle bhi in our previous ones, that those children who are walking at least 300 meters, 6-minute walk test, unme maximum benefit dikha gaya, benefit in the form of reduction in the progression of disease. Matlab, that is one thing parents have to understand ki kya hai, because many people expect magical cures. So reduction in progression of disease. So exon 53 skipping wale hain, uske andar they have just shown increased dystrophin, being produced, or 45 wala to sirf safety वगैरह दिखाया. So these are, and so that means these are not magical. Even in SMA also, these are not magical also, although they are much better, outlook which is there, more outcome which have been there, the parameters. But point is, parents feel these are magical things. And another thing important, I feel, besides the when we calculated the cost for all these three drugs, and also for ataluren, which is for the nonsense mutation, the cost comes around 6 to 9 crores per annum for a 30 kg child. So just imagine, and weekly infusions, except ataluren, which is an oral preparation. Others are weekly infusions, lifelong. So, matlab, it is not simple, and the cost is also prohibitive. So, and one thing we many times, which I want a request to all of you to, ensure, I mean, you must be doing it, that, parents forget the multidisciplinary holistic care and the standard of care. Currently in Duchenne muscle dystrophy, standard of care is steroids. And we have shown, we have had so many sessions. On the first 2 days, we had first, second, third, and fourth webinars. We're talking about the diagnosis and management, and the panel discussion on holistic management, and what are the, what is the current status of the various definitive drugs which are there. Baat hua hai. The point is, steroids bhul jate hain. So that is important, and how I realized we have been giving steroids all along. We have discussed about it. But when we are enrolling for ataluren trial, we had the ataluren trial, ataluren approved by European Union, not by FDA. When India had some many sites, we were also one of the sites. Our 11 patients are on that. The trial is over. Now they're just giving it for humanitarian access program, the continuation of those people who were on the trial. So during that time, when we were screening, you needed to be, a child had to be on steroids for at least 1 year before the child could have been enrolled. So we had to wait for so many patients, because nonsense mutation is not that common. So we were dealing with not only our patient, but the referrals. So this is how I realized that many of those people are not giving, many doctors are also not prescribing, and many patients are not taking. Dono sides hai. So matlab, we have to ensure that we have to look for the the definitive cure things. And we have mentioned definitive wale maybe, one is from the dystrophin, dystrophin के ऊपर जो add कर रहे हैं, which were the three, currently only the 3 exon skippings, and the ataluren for the nonsense mutation. And also, like, you have the other part is the radical, the for the antioxidants, for the ongoing damage and the anti-inflammatory. Lot of studies are going on. तो उस सब चीजों का देख के, but point, another thing is, hope is important, but hope cannot bypass science. We have to ensure that we have to do proper scientific, trials before we actually advise to give the patient, because it is a lifelong therapy. And we have to understand this is very, very important in that way. So this is what I felt, and I have my request to you to help in this regard. So now the original question was fundraising campaigns. So we can just start off if anybody wants to start off. Mr. Anand, you want to start, or whoever? Yeah.
One thing which you said was of the steroids.
Yeah.
The thing is, I am talking almost in a week around 10 to 12 patients. They go and meet a neurologist first. First, the thing is, they meet their GP, that is general practitioner. Then it goes to the neurologist level. I don't know. They are almost afraid to start steroids because they say the
आनंद,
side
मैंने
effect
क्या
is
बोला, मैंने आपको क्या बोला था अभी? डॉक्टर्स एज वेल एज पेशेंट्स, डॉक्टर्स भी नहीं करते प्रिस्क्राइब, फिर
in
वो
my
राइट
opinion,
स्क्राइब
I
करते
don't
हैं.
know why the patients are too much afraid to start steroids because I don't know they have been the mindset is कि इसका side effect is बहुत बुरा है.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Anand, तभी फर्स्ट जो हमारे 4 वेबिनार थे ना, तो फर्स्ट 2 I had taken about diagnosis current of DMD SMA, and second, which are all there on YouTube. Second was on the treatment, everything, all the evidence, पूरा उसको हिंदी इंग्लिश में पूरा बोला. And second day we had panel discussions on holistic care and the definitive therapies का अलग से दो पैनल. उसमें यही है कि and we are simultaneously empowering the practitioners and pediatricians, वो भी important है. मैंने अभी भी जो सवाल किया था कि एक तो प्रिस्क्राइब नहीं कर रहे और जब प्रिस्क्राइब कर रहे तो पेरेंट्स नहीं रहे, तो दोनों तरफ से है. सो वी हैव टू, एंड वी आर मेकिंग आवर गाइडलाइंस. वी हैव ऑलरेडी, वी आर इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ मेकिंग गाइडलाइंस, you know, for the government, and in which we are, मतलब we all have already had preliminary drafts made for DMD and SMA, तो उसके अंदर ये डाल रहे हैं. तो जब वो आएगा, and even for, you know, child neurology chapter of IAP, we are developing some guidelines ताकि जो pediatricians हैं, जो है, जो पॉइंट ऑफ केयर क्लिनिशियंस है, वो इम्पावर हुए. सो वो तो हम कर रहे हैं, साथ में पीडियाट्रिक न्यूरोलॉजिस्ट भी. वो मेरा, वो आई अंडरस्टैंड, आई टेक इट, आई ऑल्सो नो. तभी तो नहीं दिया, पर मैं कह रही हूँ जब देते भी हैं तो वो नहीं देते, तो उनको मैंने एक स्लाइड में दिखाया, एविडेंस है कि फायदा होता है. You know, they are walking longer time, longer duration. Please continue. I stopped. I interject myself. Yeah,
the one of the things which when we started asking for CSR money for the research activities, one thing we found out is the CSR of the companies look for the benefits. I think in the just last policy of CSR, it came that the new startup companies, they can fund is research activities. And also they had a series of questions in that also, that if you have the research activities, can it be on healthcare, because it is very a general term has been provided as a healthcare, health welfare. There is no specific mention of the word research as such. So the CSRs are not ready to fund these type of activities itself. They are ready that yes, you up 100 chair donate करने के लिए हम ready है, बट आपको अगर ट्रायल करना है, सॉरी, हमको बेनिफिट इसमें कुछ नहीं है, बिकॉज ट्रायल कैन हैव बोथ साइड्स, इट कैन बी पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव आल्सो. What is the outcome? They depend on the outcome. Today they want all the CSR wants what, that finally on the wheelchair it is written this is donated by this company, so the publicity happens out there. So getting CSR for research, it's almost practically like zero itself. We have tried out to many. In fact, I had approached many companies like Tata, Wipro, we had gone to Infosys, we had gone to Accenture. Tata was specifically in the cancer activities only. Wipro, Accenture, they said, no, it's research we cannot do. You say that we'll give out 50 wheelchairs, we have no issues out. That's all. So, in fact, I have approached around more than 50, 60 companies, but nobody was helping for research. Yes, they said, then we came out for another solution. We said, yes, generally what we have seen for a Duchenne DMD kid, for a monthly welfare, the physiotherapy and the medication is almost coming to around 30,000 rupees per month. The medication, the steroids, the heart drugs like Vimada and all, plus physiotherapy per session is around 1,000 rupees at least minimum. Even if you go for a normal BMC or ESIC hospitals, it's around 300, 400 rupees out there. So this 30,000 also, they wanted a breakup at how it can be utilized by the hospitals. We can directly give it to hospitals, not to charity organizations. So CSR as such, we have found for us, at least for PPMD, it was a very difficult task for us. I wouldn't know how people have got it, or they are more successful in getting. For other organization may be really successful in getting from the CSRs. As for PPMD, yes, we had a really difficult task for us.
Yeah, I too had that similar condition as Anandji mentioned, because whenever we are approaching the CSR, they will mention that, okay, we can provide CSR for specific project. Mainly it is like a result oriented, so they can provide that the 20 wheelchair or in that kind of thing. If anything we requested for it's like a research and all, they always say it will be difficult because we don't know the success rate and all. The forex, my interest. So in the last year, we done one of the crowdfunding activities for the starting a rehabilitation center, but it was not as successful. So we face a lot of issues. So it's like the getting CSR for research. I don't think it's a viable solution. And another one question to Shefali ma'am. So you mentioned that is it possible so AIIMS can provide some of the standard care for the DMD and make it as a the rule for all the states or something? I don't know that AIIMS have such kind of options.
Mr. Krishna Kumar, rule word nahi hai. We can make guidelines.
Guidelines.
I mean, I have no right to make any rule. What I'm saying is, see, one thing, we are being an epical center and all that, we have been making the patient information booklets and all. But right now, for the government, we are making as a part of a team. We are making all the experts working on neuromuscular disorders. We have grouped all of them. So I am coordinating that, in which we are making guidelines with the current evidence, which will be which we had presented to the technical committee in the Ministry of Health for the regarding this DMD and SMA has not been presented. So already this is the process. So we are developing those. Once they become they'll be put in public domain, right? So that will be the guidance. So that will be the guidelines overall for the treatment point of view, and which we are adding the holistic care. One. Number two, this is from the so that way it's come there. Number two, we are also having a group in which I'm co-chair in the ICMR, where we are working on neuromuscular disorders for the rare disease component, the neuromuscular disorders. So there also we're working on the research component and everything of this. And number three, I was saying that we have various bodies in which like we have Indian Academy of Pediatrics. So there is an Academy of Pediatric Neurology chapter of the IAP. I was the chairperson last year, and now I'm the guidelines coordinator, because I decided to take on task to develop guidelines. We develop for epilepsy, which are being released now, and now this year I'm going to be developing neuromuscular disorders, catering and targeting to the practicing pediatricians who will be empowered to how to diagnose early and do that. So that is why next is now, first we did epilepsy because it was the commonest problem of pigeon face. Now we are coming to neuromuscular disorder because there's a lot of treatment options available. So there is a lot of confusion. So that is the reason. So that will also help, making. So these three bodies separately, and actually Association of Child Neurology India is another body which I'm president-elect from next year. So for that also we'll ratify and bring involved in that. And so that we will have empowering of the pediatricians one side, we have overall guidelines, we'll be presenting evidence to the ministry for there and working with the ICMR. So all that fronts we'll do that, and I hope we see a change. I want to ask you one thing. How many of you are trying to procure for respiratory support devices? Because I feel in India we just lack that providing respiratory support. We don't look for sleep-related disorder breathing. I mean, we generally don't, when anybody is having, we don't do PSGs later on when it's required. So, I mean, we have to improve the quality of care of the children who are in their teens and all, and there. Are we doing that? And I don't think
in my case, I am telling on the Kerala's perspective, at least at 4 or 5 cases, we are getting on annual basis on the respiratory support here.
Okay, I mean, so you're providing them with ventilator and everything?
Madam, one more thing. In Kerala, actually, through the...
you put your question also, Mr. Sunil. Yeah, you were asking earlier. Yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Madam, in Kerala, actually, the government will provide all the respiratory machine through the local bodies and BRDC. So I think it is not that difficult in Kerala.
Okay, so that you should be a role model for the country, na?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's like, let me add one more point here, but still, it's like somebody has to highlight these local bodies and all, otherwise that resources will not get on the right time and all. So we need some intervention and all, but at least that government is providing that if you notify them.
Ma'am, just to add on.
One second. Mr. Sunil is a parent. Mr. Sunil has been following all the webinars. Anything you want to add for the NGOs, you can add right now, directly face to face. Yeah, and then please, then we'll come to you. Then we have raised hands from Yeah, please, Mr. Sunil, आप बोलिए उसके बाद then we are going to come to Madam Rama.
Madam, you go ahead. No problem. No problem.
No, but you can ask them directly or suggest something directly. Want to say something?
Okay. I will take later, madam. Go.
Okay, later? Okay. Madam Rama.
Thank you, Sunilji. Thank you, Sunilji. Just to add on to all those people, to all the discussions what we are doing right now, coming to respiratory, if someone is not having a cough assist, what is that to be done at that time? We don't have any facilities from the physiotherapy angle, chest physio or respiratory, how to cater that. Especially if any respiratory issues come, how the parents should handle. And I request Shifali ma'am also, ma'am, the whatever booklet you are circulating, I want that to be in local language also, ma'am. We request that because many people.
Rama, local language, when you have to translate and back translate needs money. So we can't do that. So what we did Hindi on our own without money, right? So now
Yes,
I would request you all on various states to take it and translate into languages.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. From local organizations, we will be doing that. We have so many 8 to 10 organizations joined here, and we have from every region that can be taken care. Coming to the respiratory, ma'am, we are facing adult care, especially emergency situations. None of the hospitals are taking the emergency situation. It's emergency. It's muscular dystrophy. Sorry, we don't know how to handle those cases. On those lines, also there's a lot of work to be done.
We will be in the guidelines which we will be bringing. We will be providing with the respiratory care thing also guideline. Although in those webinars I just mentioned, but how exactly we will be taking care of, because our idea is one thing. It is not treating the dystrophin or the SMN gene come into DMD or this thing. We are treating the whole child holistically with their family, because it's the family as a unit we have to take care of, and it's the societal responsibility, not only as we professionals but the entire society. That is why we had sessions on destigmatization and all that stuff. So I think it's important to move ahead together. So fundraising we have done. So can you
can I just add on one question to?
Yeah, please.
Shall I?
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. See, we are discussing this fundraising from the NGOs. I strongly believe that, if the government thinks that, is a 0.1 percentage can be allocated for the entire budget of the billing, okay, of the country for the research and the maintenance and the management of the, not only to the rare diseases or all, research activities which are, pending due to the funds issue. Because if you see the billing pattern, if you see the Bahubali 1 and 2, it is, making a thousands of, business. If you can make a 0.1 percentage in those, entertainment and all, the business activities, 0.1 percentage, almost every year India will generate almost equivalent to the 25,000 crores. That can be utilized for these research activities for across the, the disciplines, irrespective of the whether it is a rare disease or other diseases, and then the maintenance. As NGOs and the policymakers, if you can impose of that kind in our Indian government, that will help us to raise more funds so that we won't discuss, the inflows of the money. That is only my suggestion.
Yeah. Thank you. Can you please tell your name, because only Madam Rama's name came. Mr. Murali?
Yeah. This is Murali, ma'am. I am from Bharat MD Foundation.
Okay, that I know. Yeah, thanks, Mr. Murali. Very rightly said. And that somebody had told on the other day that if you have 1,000 rupees donation from, you only said. Okay. Yeah, you only said, that's okay.
Yeah, because,
but point is, here people have a problem of giving 10 rupees. You're talking about 1,000.
No,
and
that's
here
what
also we should talk about it. And here also, actually it should be some percentage of your salary or something should go like that, so that there is equity, like, if a 1 day salary, something like that, that is, so that it becomes an equitable thing. You can't make a rickshaw puller give 1,000 rupees and you give a CEO also 1,000. I mean,
No, ma'am, I don't know. See, I'm actually the entrepreneur for a software industry. Prior to I come to know about my, the kid with the DMD. We used to generate, almost 1,000 crores as a tax to the government through my software to the government. In that, apart from the sales tax, they used to have the educational cess, and then so many other cess. Similar to that, if the government at the higher level, if they can include 0.1 percentage of the billing, the tax collection to for this purpose. No,
For what?
I don't
For
think that.
medical? No. For the health, we can't say to give it to neuromuscular disease, right? It'll be
No.
for
I'm
health.
not saying
For
only
health.
for the
For health. For health.
neuromuscular, for the
For health.
entire, health, sector. Either it is a, the ongoing researches for any disease, not only to the endemic or neuromuscular diseases.
Absolutely, Mr. Murali, that's a good suggestion. But Anubha, you wanted to say something, and you know what? And it is now 12:22. We have to wind up by 12:30, but we can go on 4-5 minutes ahead. After Anubha makes the comment, then I would just request everybody to give their opinions that how the NGOs in the DMD side can work out. And we did not discuss on the international collaborations, how international collaborations can help, and Nisha from Indo US can guide that also. In addition to, all of you must be having collaborations and how you are getting benefit from your international counterparts. So Anubha, it's open to you, and you can put your end remarks also along with what you wanted to speak, and then everybody can give their comments and their closing remarks too. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, just I wanted to add for the fundraising campaigns part that apart from not fundraising for definitely larger part of research, but small funds can be raised from large public events where that can be a way of promoting awareness. So talking about public awareness, so any sort of public events that are happening, such as Delhi Half Marathon and Rahagiri events or any such events. So I would encourage everybody in their states to participate in such events, and if possibly we could have some fund raised from these platforms. And definitely there are great sources of awareness, spreading awareness, and awareness has to come from various other base platforms such as different colleges and schools and even hospitals. Through hospitals, if we can spread a lot of awareness, then as Shivali ma'am said, that we need to wind up and looking forward to like international collaborations point also. So for international collaboration, currently there is a great support definitely that I would like to make. So we have been into conferences, international conferences that once happened in 2019 in Chicago. That was a big conference where we had more than 400 patients and families from of only, I'm talking about LGMD right now. So it was a large conference where we could learn what is happening throughout the globe, and we could collaborate with various organizations that are working together. So definitely for us, Coalition to Cure Calpin 3 has been a great source, and they keep motivating us for awareness, giving us updates on the recent treatments and developments. And also Treat and MD is a great platform where we do have we are like in process of collaborating for a data registry, the platform that they're providing. So they have a great platform, and I would like more people in India to collaborate for the particular purpose, or together we can do that. Then definitely a lot of organizations internationally are open to collaborate for any the part of management or giving updates, but definitely we don't have any like promising research that is there throughout anywhere. So that's what I would like to make. And again, for the ending remarks, for the role of government and how we as NGOs can possibly help the government in policy making and all, I would like to make a point that capacity building is a very important thing, and we need to have a right kind of education and the ways where what we as patient communities require. And there has to be a clear cut idea, and it has does not have to be duplicated, and it has to come together So I feel that although the current scenario requires even more people working for this particular cause for the welfare of muscular dystrophy, but we also need a single body that can bind us all together. So above that, if that can be like a collaboration with the state, and possibly that can help us move in a right direction in a systematic manner, and it has to be cohesively done for all the agendas that we are discussing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we have Sanjana?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to share one thing that regarding awareness and collaborating with the government in that area, I would like to comment that there's one national health mission going on. गवर्नमेंट का एक प्रोग्राम चल रहा है नेशनल हेल्थ मिशन उसमें हम लोगों ने जो अवेयरनेस का उनका पार्ट है उसके साथ कोलैबोरेट किया है एंड द गवर्नमेंट हैज got the big posters and all those print material for awareness printed also, and they've committed ki that was for the state government क्योंकि हेल्थ इश्यू स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का सब्जेक्ट है तो उन्होंने हमारे साथ इस तरह से कोलैबोरेट किया है कि उनके सेशंस में अगर हम जाएंगे फॉर दैट वी विल स्पेंड मनी फ्रॉम आवर ओन पॉकेट बट रिगार्डिंग अवेयरनेस मटेरियल and awareness platforms they will support us for that they've printed big posters which will be distributed all throughout the state in the health centers to create awareness for muscular dystrophy. So this way, all the states can come forward and collaborate with the government programs so that, to create awareness, we can do this. So this was, I wanted to share ki jo humne abhi achieve kiya, which is a big achievement. So, baki programs mein, we are always there to take suggestions from all.
Isha, how can we have international support and what kind of international support we get and what do we learn?
Yes, so from the perspective of an organization that the focus itself is to build global collaborations, one of the main aspects to remember is that there is so much going on elsewhere in the world, particularly in the global, the West, which we can learn from. Mr. Anand spoke about the clinical trials that are working, but what we need to keep in perspective is out of around 300 or 400 clinical trials for DMD, we have maybe 7 or less in India, but we have the population which corresponds to more than maybe a quarter or more than that of patients are represented from India. So having local clinical trials, but also being able to represent patients from India at a global level, building this bridge to communicate this gap, that patients from India are represented in global clinical research, which is an initiative that needs to be taken at the level of the government to ease restrictions to facilitate access. Secondly, in promoting this and awareness of this from the NGOs that work closely, I think muscular dystrophy is a field where, especially in India, there's so much of collaboration between patient groups and researchers and the government, and it's a very classic example of how things should be moving forward. Unfortunately, this is not the case for other diseases, but still there's a long way to go. Again, another divide that exists in India, from my perspective as a basic science researcher to through my journey to a non-profit, is that there is this lack of communication between non-profits, patient support groups, medical doctors, and basic science researchers. I spent years working on muscle stem cells, which has direct implications in many of these muscular dystrophies. But then, as a basic science researcher, how exposed are you to the day-to-day challenges and the impact of your research on patients? So patients have this incredible power to drive basic research, translational research, and this is all made possible by communicating between different stakeholders. Another aspect I want to bring about is that from our personal experience at Indo-US Rare, it's not disease specific. There are learnings from one disease that can go and be used to other diseases as well. Especially in NMD, we have a case where there is a neuromuscular disorder where somebody was trying to build research and a connection was made to a different but related neuromuscular disorder. And it turns out that there's a lot of overlap in their physiology, in the way the disease progresses, and treatments can be developed. So basket clinical trials can be developed, which can benefit more than one disease. And this is all ways to accelerate and make it more democratized as well as more economical and faster. Uh, and another aspect is definitely bringing the voice of the Indian patients and the research that is happening here to FDA, because currently it is that the drugs get approved at FDA or EMA, and then it comes here. Unfortunately, that is how it is. Most research happens there, where our voices are not heard from India. But it is possible. FDA has patient listening sessions. So we are, and it's all virtual. So it's possible for people from India, living in India, to have their voices heard where actual drug development is being discussed at FDA elsewhere. So these are things that we advocate for at Indo-US Rare. And I think these are the collaborations internationally that should be pursued to strengthen the game that is happening in such strong amount in India. Thanks.
As regards, yeah, thanks. As regards the trial going on, basically right now we two trials on three trials on DMD are about to start. One is by two of them are by Sarepta for this 45, 51, 53, and one is by DART. So, but the final things are still going on. And regarding the stem cells, as if stem cells is not we've done in the previous sessions, still a long shot away. And Mr. Krishna Kumar, your comments, please. Mr. Krishna Kumar.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks, Nisha ma'am, for providing that input on that how we can collaborate with the West. And so many cases that is what happening. It's whatever maybe any medicine developed there, we have to wait for another 4 to 5 years to try it in India. So we have to do some effort to reduce that, at least that whatever is available, whatever may be the cost, at least that we have to be accessible, because many parents are trying that, okay, it is available in US, so why we are not able to proceed it. And also we have to work together to find out a plan, at least like whatever is FDA is done, so we can utilize without much delay. So that will definitely help. So that is what very much important for the DMDs, because many cases what happened, the parents is coming back and saying that, okay, my kid is 9 years, so if he's not getting a medicine, so it will be difficult. So as you know that our experience shows that if the medicine is tried to provide at the very early age, and otherwise no specific use, right? So, and another one comment is like what I noticed that still in India, that average lifespan of that the DMD kid is like 18 years, and maybe that some exception is there, but they are getting that the more care, and also we have to get the similar care to the all kids, and whoever is in rural or urban kids. So we have to provide the proper care to them, at least that we have to improve their lifespan up to 35 or 40. So we need to focus on that. So that's all from my side.
Yeah, thank you. I think Mr. Anand, please.
Yeah, ma'am. One thing we have, as ma'am rightly said, that the FDA listens to the patient community all over the world itself. In fact, currently PPMD, where Mr. Ambrish Kapadia, one of the trustees there, he's in touch with around 47 to 50 scientists all over the world who are just doing in DMD as such. We have been contacting Sarepta, you can say Pfizer, we can say Roche Pharmaceuticals. The thing is, these all companies, marketing is there in India, but not on the research activities. In the research activities, everything is there is always in USA, and they are not entertaining the common people other than US citizens itself. So it's very difficult for people to join out there. Even I have parents, list of parents who are ready to spend the money out to enter the clinical trials in USA, but they are not getting entertained out such. So if Indo-US can help these type of also parents to able to join the clinical trials out there, then it can be much beneficial there as such.
Thank you. I think Rama wants to say something.
Ma'am, it's Sharda here. Ma'am, I just wanted to talk on to add on to what you have said about the stigma about steroids. One major concern that I've come across when I talk to parents is the resistance or hesitation to do take on steroids is because how do they manage the other symptoms, and how they were in the absence of interdisciplinary doctors, like one has to go to a neurologist in one hospital, go to endocrinologist in another hospital, follow up with the orthopedic somewhere else if they have osteoporosis. So how do they coordinate all this? So in the absence of all this, and that is one of the reasons why it is very essential that we have neuromuscular clinics stationed at one place. And also regarding one more thing is final comments that I would like to say is there's also a need for a lot of supportive durable medical equipments. And as far as respiratory, as you rightly pointed out, it is very difficult. Like my son is on a trilogy and he uses a cough assist, but to get the masks, even getting a basic mask replacement is quite a challenge for me here. So I feel that there is a lot that needs to be done even for durable medical equipment like quality wheelchairs and also other devices, so that people can have a quality life and they have that physical supportive care and management that can go a long way for these children, and also have accessible vehicles. That is where, as the children grow older, it is getting difficult to carry them or take them around. So I think that is a very important infrastructural facilities that we provided. And I take this opportunity to thank you all because it was so insightful and we learned a lot and came to know about a lot of things that exist also, which which I personally was not aware of. So thank you very much.
Madam Sharda, one request actually from your, foundation, Bharat MD Foundation, Rama Lakshmi Madam had communicated. So that's why I had only her name. I want her name is there. Your and Mr. Murli's details also. Can you email to me, because I have to put the list of panels in the final and in my final document which is being prepared, right? So I'll be grateful to that. So I'm sorry I kept calling you Rama because that was the only name which came to me and we did not know each other personally, and that's why it was last moment connection with all, because we were trying to seek out to people who are working in this area. Have I left out? Mr. Sunil has to make a comment, but before that, have I left out any panelists for final remark? Then Mr. Sunil can, if I haven't, then Mr. Sunil can please.
Madam, I have just a question to Nisha, madam, that every time we are running, it is my doubt, every time we are running behind the US companies and US research, I think I heard that there is a lot of research going on around the world in Eastern Europe, Germany, Israel, even in Korea, in Poland. I think that, for example, dystrogen is one of the examples. They are in the phase 3 or 4 3 trial. Then why we could not concentrate on that side? Because compared to US medicine and US research, this is cheaply. That is my question. That is this to Nisha, ma'am.
Yeah, Dr. Shefali, please chime in if I am lacking in my knowledge here. But, sir, unfortunately, when drugs are approved in India, there are a few external organizations or agencies whose approval
Nisha,
is
he's
valid
not
here.
asking for drug approval, he's asking about the research, right?
No, but even so, but then it holds true that regulatory agencies here give value to FDA, EMA, maybe Japan, and perhaps Australia. And
Even
the research
EU
conducted here is more valid here. So building collaborations, and that's at a different level. But anywhere, if there is research happening globally, irrespective of where it is, we should be able to participate. And because rare diseases is not a national problem, it is a global problem and it should be tackled globally. And it is not whether it's India or US or Korea or where it's cheaper, but where the best research is happening, everybody should collaborate. That's our take.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's actually initially there were less number of trials coming to India, but now lots and lots of trials are coming. And Mr. Sunil, you were there na last week jab research ka panel discussion tha, right? So I think we can go back and see those webinars also whenever we feel like it's there. What you were saying is right. All the trials, I mean, should be available. We have the N, but they are coming now. See, you have. There was also a trial of NS Pharma which had come for Vitilusin in 2020. Everything was formalized. The approvals were on. And they came for the that was for ambulatory DMD. Then they came in July 2020 for non-ambulatory ones. But then in October we got a mail that NS Pharma is not coming to India. What Mr. Sunil is saying, right? There are certain times there's some issues, but we do not know what the technical issues are there from their side. We are at the other side. So, but what you're saying is very well, and I think one thing I think what NGOs and parent support groups can ensure that whenever any trials are started, meanwhile, I'll request Dr. Kakuli to put in the poll questions also. Whenever the trials are started, and whenever you are enrolling in a trial, ensure you follow the protocol completely. It should not be, they should not be that you are not, picking, the protocols cannot be violated. But you should understand that. And because if the protocols are strictly followed, then that is the most important thing, when the so many years of hard work and all goes for the trial to be formulated first in R&D and everything, then the drug is coming for a clinical trial in humans. So that has gone through so many other studies. So at that point of time, what is required from the patient is to strictly follow the protocol. I think that is very, very important for us to understand and remember. And yeah.
Dr. Shefali, also that the representation of the Indian population should happen much before when they are looking to fill up trials, right? It should also be that the drugs, the discovery process, the formulation process, everything should be taking into account Indian population, the genetic diversity. So,
yeah, but we discussed that on that in the research panel. That's what we discussed, right? Idea by the NGO thing is what Mr. Sunil was saying. We should be there, right?
Definitely.
And didn't I raise the question that we should be involved also in the inception part when they were saying their core group is involved? Remember, the reply was not that they had the core group involved. I said, why can't we have representation from different continents when you are trying to make the protocol? I had raised that question, and the reply was that they do have group of advisors, but they don't have that much of geographical global representation. So maybe those things can be looked up to. Very rightly pointed out. That was what I also had mentioned that day. So if anybody has any last minutes thing to say, or we just close up. We are 12 minutes beyond that. Should we close up? So I think thank you everyone for joining. I'll hand over to Dr. Kakuli for the housekeeping announcement.
Thank you all the panelists and the participants. And it has been very true with both the sessions. We can definitely say cohesive approach by government, NGO, policymakers, clinical team and parents is very, very necessary. And I really appreciate for the multilingual thing where Mr. Krishna, Ms. Rama, and Mr. Murli and Mr. Sunil are very, very positive about it that the states can take over the multilingual translation, which can definitely help in outreaching more patients throughout. Thank you very much. I'll end the poll out here. Over to Dr. Shefali.
Thank you so much. I am really grateful to everyone who have joined. And Abhi, we are having basically now 3 more days and 6 more webinars to go in scenario around the world. We have various doctors from across the world, different continents, and some MNCs. And we are having from the government as well. Then we have self-advocates, then financial solutions, and whether it's crowdfunding, whether it's Hope and a Hype, humanitarian access programs, the employees beneficiary scheme. Then in the end, we need to have parental counseling and the coping strategies. So I think we have till Saturday, lots to go. Thank you so much. And I thank you all personally, Dr. Nisha, Prasanna, Rama Lakshmi, Sharda, Murli, Sanjana, Mr. Anand, Mr. Krishna Kumar, and Anubha to have joined. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Shefali.